Heather, A through Z.
I will go with J.
J. Oh, yeah, we got a new trailer this week for Johnny Cage the movie. Mortal Kombat 2. It's a very interesting choice. It looks better than the last one. I mean, that's not hard. But also I still don't understand it. I just still don't understand it. You went from Cole Young, Mortal Kombat 1, to Johnny Cage, Mortal Kombat 2. Are they just going to do like 10 movies and each one focuses on a new character? Is that what they're going to do with this? Are we going to get Mortal Kombat 3 Kintaro? Because it has to be somebody that it wasn't in the last movie.
Just all focused on one person, each movie.
I mean, I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But you know what? It at least looks better than the last one. So, I mean, small victories, not a flawless victory, but a small one. You know, where you're when you're in the danger zone, but you end up getting the win. It's that.
Yeah,
very interesting.
I felt a lot of the same things that you felt. Like, it looks like it might. I mean, everything I saw looked better overall. And I mean, if you're gonna center it around somebody, I mean, we know how well Carl Urban can act, so it's not the worst thing you could do. But I guess it might. But like you said, how is the tournament going to be centered around him? Like,
yeah,
that's the crazy thing about it. Like, how are you going to do that, but make the other characters important, or because like, if it winds up being him versus Shao Kahn or something, that's just going to be wrong. Like, it's just going to feel wrong. Like, so, but what other way is there to do it where he's your lead character? So it might be one of those cases where we get a better movie just because who the lead is, who's involved, and things like that. And I did see a lot of things that are present in the game. Like that little part where I forget the two people that it was, but they were standing there, and then that like purplish looking portal that was in the background or whatever, that's a stage straight out of the game. I think that was in Ultimate MK3. Oh, that was in 2? Okay. But like, I recognized that right away, and I was like, oh shit, that's straight out of the game. That's like a stage in the game. So like, there were things that I saw that I liked, but I think it's going to be one of those, it's better than the first one, but it's still not the Mortal Kombat we really want type of deals.
But it also might be just a good movie, but just a bad Mortal Kombat movie. You know what I mean? It could be like a weird, interesting boys-esque Mortal Kombat. Because, I mean, Carl Urban's doing Carl Urban, which is always a good thing. But I don't know. I mean, I want to say Mortal Kombat 11, I think, is the one that has where Johnny Cage, it's 9, 10, or 11. It's one number they kind of rebooted it again. Where Johnny Cage defeats Shinnok. Because there's like something about his bloodline that's tied into like ultimate power, and he beats Shinnok. So they could just be going that route, where is something hidden in his bloodline that they tap into, and he's the one that I guess will beat Shao Kahn. Because fuck everything else. I guess where Johnny Cage is going to beat Shao Kahn. Can't beat Goro. That motherfucker dead. You remember that, Jastin? Do you remember when they killed Goro in the other movie?
Yes.
When Cole did it with his armadillo powers?
Yes, I remember.
Your favorite character?
The Prince of the Shokan? Somebody undefeated for 900 years? And he got armadilloed to death on a farm? You remember that? That was crazy.
And I guess, so are we not even going to have any four-armed person in this? Like no Shiva, no Kintaro?
No other Shokan? Like just another
Yeah.
Shokan? You know, that entire race of people? Just none of them. Man. Baraka looked cool, though.
Yeah, he did.
Baraka
I was
looked
happy
cool.
to see him.
Yeah. Got a little Barak. But
And then I think
Katana, the fans and everything, that was looking cool.
yeah. And Jade, like the actress who plays her, I really like. Tati Gabrielle. She was in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but she's also in a bunch of other
is she
stuff.
in Hawaii 5-0?
I don't think so.
That's fine.
But
I was just curious.
maybe. She
Was she the adversary witch for a little bit? But then her and Sabrina like killed some boys or something?
Yeah, she's got the blonde hair. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's good. I like her.
Yeah. She's in that TV show You. I think she's in the new season of The Last of Us as well.
Mhm.
But
I haven't watched any of that.
mm-hmm. She was in that good old Uncharted that we all loved.
Was she the one that killed the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who did she kill? Was it Antonio Banderas?
Yeah.
Wait, was it
Yeah.
really? I was just making somebody up.
It was. I think it was
Yeah,
him,
I
wasn't
think
it?
it was him.
Yeah.
Because we were mad. We were upset about
Good
that.
job.
We didn't like
I
that.
did
that
not
happened.
remember he was in
You
that.
just saying a random person's name.
You remember
Maybe it's
that.
in the recesses of your mind more than you knew.
So pissed off that my joke answer was right. I was trying to be funny.
Because until you
remembered it.
said that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. He was the guy in that. Like, I didn't remember that either.
You just buried it in your subconscious.
Right.
Legit,
You just-
I
you
think I
just-
was talking about Indiana Jones, the fifth one. Remember when he just died in the middle of that movie for no
right.
reason?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You remembered it. It was just stored back there in your brain.
Maybe
in
it's
that
just you
hidden
have
place.
Antonio Banderas
Like how-
knowledge.
Do you
Like
remember
how
in
that
that
map
movie?
was hidden in the Papa John's.
Yeah, do you remember in that movie when they were in Italy and they fought in a Papa John's? That's crazy. Like wasn't it Italy? It was somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
But just the sheer fact that it's like Europe and pizza and they went Papa John's.
All that stuff had been built behind that Papa John's wall.
Do you guys remember? Do you guys
look at
remember when Papa John himself said the N-word on a like a board call and was like, if Colonel Sanders can say it, I can say it? That's crazy.
Yeah.
There's lots of things Colonel Sanders did that people shouldn't do. And I'm going to go on the limb here and just say that's on the list. Maybe Colonel Sanders shouldn't have been saying that either.
Yeah, like, why is he the standard? That's very weird.
It really is. It's like, it really is just like going like, guys, if Robert E. Lee could say the N-word, I can say the N-word. Oh, man. Another fighting game news. They've been really building out the cast of Street Fighter. Lots of wrestlers for Jastin. You got that Roman Reigns as Akuma. Got that Cody Rhodes as Guile. Are they going to replace his American Nightmare tattoo with just the American flag on his neck instead of his bicep?
I wonder.
But also, can Cody Rhodes stop being blonde? I'm really tired of it at this point. I hate the way that looks. It just looks like the early 2000s. And I hate it.
Is that a thing now? I've seen other celebrities.
So many
with
people.
that.
Nicholas Hoult from the movie we're going to talk about today is
Yeah.
running around bleach blonde right now. I don't get it. But anyway, to talk more about this, though, we have Roman Reigns as Kuma. Like I said, we have Cody Rhodes as Guile. We've got David Desmalchin as M. Bison, which has caused a lot of controversy online. A lot of people are like, I don't care how good of an actor he is. He's just very small and all this other stuff. And we were talking a little bit before this about some of those things. And I don't get that, because no one looks like these people in real life. Just no one. And if we did, it'd be a roided out rage fest of a movie that it would suck so bad. You would just have some guy playing Blanca because people aren't green. Like,
Right.
but Jason Momoa is playing Blanca, for if anybody was, concerned.
Honestly, like, I just want David Dastmalchian to be in everything. Like, he's actually so good.
He's a fantastic actor and also a fantastic sociopath as an actor.
Yeah.
Like, I
Very
don't
true.
know why you wouldn't want this guy as M. Bison. Like, if you want to encapsulate the essence of Bison, he's 100% perfect for this role. This man plays sociopath like nobody else's business. And
He's always just like a random, like, supporting character in a bunch of things, but he always nails it. And then we randomly get him as the lead in that Late Night with the Devil, and he was just incredible. Like, yeah, he should just get all the work. I like it.
And also randomly plays super bad guy in both The Rookie and the remake of MacGyver. He's like the anti-MacGyver. Also, I think Heather will appreciate this. Noah Centineo? He's playing Ken in Street Fighter. So
I'm a little indifferent to it.
I thought you liked something he was in.
I feel like there was, but I feel like it might have been before I realized or heard a bunch of things about how weird he is.
I do distinctly remember you saying he was your favorite part about Black Adam.
Did I?
Yeah, he played Atom Smasher, the guy that got real big.
I did actually forget that. I'm not going to lie to you. But okay, I believe you.
And the last one I'll bring up is Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is going to play Balrog. So, I guess.
Yeah, I think after you watch movies for so long, you just know not to make too many judgments based on casting. Because, I mean, there's just been so many times where I thought something was going to be bad because of casting, and I've just been wrong so many times. I tripped when Heath Ledger was first announced as the Joker. I got nervous when Jim Carrey was announced as Dr. Robotnik. Like, Dr. Robotnik is a big, portly, he's a big, corpulent, mad scientist doctor.
I'm really surprised you didn't say Eggman.
So when they first casted him, I was like, Jim Carrey is so thin. I mean, I wouldn't have thought Jim Carrey for that. But look how awesome he did. And they have a way of, and I mean, we have so many good makeup artists and special effects and stuff like that. They can make these people look more like they do in the game than maybe they actually look. Like, it's, there are just so many resources. It's not always just about, well, does he look exactly like the character? It's about more than appearance. And we know that. If you've been watching movies long enough, you know that the acting and how this character's written matters way more
And there
than any of that
and
shit.
there is some versions of Bison that aren't astronomically huge.
Yeah.
And you're telling me a man in Hollywood can't get paid millions of dollars to bulk up? Like, come on. Like, we've seen it, people. We've seen it. Like,
Yeah. And like even certain artist renditions that most fans say that they like. Like I remember when they did the Capcom SNK games where Capcom went up against like this other, not really a rival company, but this other company that produces fighting games and stuff like that. So when they did the crossover, the different artists from the different companies did, you know, like SNK did SNK renditions of the Street Fighter characters. And then Capcom did Capcom versions of the SNK characters. And like SNK, when they do the artwork, everybody looks more realistic. Like they look like more like what an actual person, like they try to be more like lifelike and real proportions and stuff like that. And, you know, Capcom's more like anime, or they're super animated, kind of over the top with the muscles and stuff like that. But I said all that because people liked the SNK renditions. And in that, M. Bison looks fairly normal. I mean,
I'm
he
looking
looks
at a
like
picture
a
of
fit
the
person.
I'm looking at the SNK, a picture of the SNK in Bison right now. Just looks like a slightly bigger guy.
Yeah, just a slightly bigger person, you know, like, and people like those renditions because it was, because I mean, why does he have to look like the Hulk?
Also looking at a version of him from, I believe, Street Fighter Alpha. Yeah, that's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's kind of the same issue. Like, and I don't have much to go off because I never played the game, but so many people were upset about Caitlin Dever playing what's her face in The Last of Us, Abby, because they were like, oh, she's not even like big and buff and like all these things. Like, she's just completely miscast and not the right person for it. From what I've heard, she was excellent in this season, but I'm just like, people completely thought that it was the worst idea. And they already had in mind like who they wanted to be that person. I don't even remember who it was, but a lot of people were fan casting, of course. And she wasn't, you know, anybody's pick, but apparently she was really, really great.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
I saw memes about that.
I'm looking at, dude, all these pictures from like all these SNK Capcoms. Dude, yeah. Bison just looks like a muscly guy.
Yeah.
But he looks like a human.
Yeah, exactly. like and nobody complained about those.
Oh yeah.
And that's who David Smallshane's supposed to play.
Oh, it's totally reasonable. Put on maybe 20 pounds of muscle. You could do that.
Yeah, he could do that. That's fine.
And when you're paid money and given a personal trainer and dietitian and all of the things that Hollywood can give you, you can do that.
Exactly. I mean, how many people started, you know, people did the same thing about this actor that played Superman.
Look at Chris Evans.
It was the same shit.
Look at Chris Evans when he's in Fantastic Four versus Chris Evans as Captain America. Just do that.
True.
Just do that.
True.
And also, I think that was another thing that people were worried about him being Captain America.
Oh God, yeah.
Because they thought about him as Johnny Storm, and they were like, this guy? I don't think so.
It was Johnny Storm / every role he had ever done.
Yeah.
They were like, he can't be him. Yeah, just do one of these human versions.
I wanted more for him after Captain America because he's a good actor. He just hasn't really expanded the types of movies he does.
He needs to fire his fucking agent is what he needs to do.
You know?
Yeah.
He's
not doing him any favors.
Bunch of bad shit.
Yeah. And he's really good. Like same thing I feel about Tom
Hiddleston?
What's his name? Tom Holland.
Oh,
Sorry.
Holland.
There's so many Toms in the world. Tom Holland. Same thing. He's a really good actor, but he does not pick really good projects.
Well, he finally got with Nolan, so he'll be all right.
Playing little young British Ulysses Jr. Where's my papa? Is he back from the Trojan War yet?
You sound like that.
Man, he did. He was all, Punisher. Is my papa come back from the war? John Bernthal is just sitting there like, Rick ain't come back from the war?
I'd really like your version of this movie now.
I know. Why you?
And then Matt Damon's all Ulysses.
Every time I see that teaser, I'm going to laugh because of you.
And then Matt Damon's all Ulysses on a raft, all like, but where's my Dunkin' Donuts?
And
Man, I
forgets
really
what movie
hope-
he's in, so he's like got his Boston accent going.
You gotta park my
Man, I
car at
like
the park.
Matt Damon.
Huh?
I like Matt Damon, though.
Okay. I did say I
really
didn't like him. I'm just
rooting
saying.
for him.
I'm just saying he's British.
I'm rooting for
Or
him.
not
man.
British, he's
I want
Bostonian.
I want him to get his due, man. I'm hoping this is the movie where like he finally like.
He already won an Academy Award. What else do you need, Jastin?
But I don't feel like he's really looked at as like.
To be fair, he didn't win it for acting, but still.
Yeah,
That's neither here nor there.
I'm
True.
talking about the acting, bruh.
Hey,
See-
I could have said you have Matt Damon on a mat, just being like Matt Damon.
I mean, the thing is, I remember back in the day, people were just like, because, you know, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck being best friends, they were like, no, like Ben Affleck is a movie star. Matt Damon is an actor. But the more I've seen Ben Affleck, I kind of just think they're both actors.
But also, do you know why people say that about Matt Damon? Because he did that movie where he was like conjoined with Greg Kinnear and they made hamburgers together. That's why people say that about Matt Damon.
That's why they say he's an actor.
No, that he's just a guy.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's not getting his dues, Justin.
Oh, I see.
And he's joked too before that, like he's like, well, hopefully this movie will make some money. Like he jokes sometimes that his movies have, you know, whether he's acted well in them or not,
Did
have
you
just not been like box office leaders.
Did you guys watch We Bought a Zoo?
I sure missed that one.
Yeah, everyone did. That's part of his problem. Nobody watches his fucking movies if it didn't have Born Identity in front of it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping this might be it, man. This might be something to make people go, oh yeah, him.
And I mean, to be fair,
That's all
I
I'm
thought
saying.
he was great in Good Will Hunting. But
He was.
I mean, he wasn't the standout in the movie, but he was good, you know?
He kind of got overshadowed by a Skarsgård and a Robin Williams in that movie.
And the one scene with Ben Affleck. That was kind of even field. But all I'm saying is, yes, like I think he's been consistently good. He doesn't always pick good movies either, but I think when you're in that many movies, you're kind of bound to, it's kind of like Samuel L. Jackson. He's in like every movie ever, and half of them, probably more than half of them, are not good movies, but he's just making movies. You know, he's like, I just want to make movies. Get that paycheck.
I'm just saying, when you do roles like I am the conjoined twin of Greg Kinnear, and we break records at how fast we can make burgers. Yeah. And then you follow that up with a movie called We Bought a Zoo. I'm just
They're
saying.
not all winners.
Just saying.
Yeah. He just hasn't really had that just definitive, like clear, it's a winner and he led it and it just made hella money.
I mean, he did really
There's always
great.
something missing from that combination of the three things. Like even in The Departed, he was good in that, but there were people who were better. And there were people who, you
but
know.
he got outshined by Mark Wahlberg, dude. Come on, that's rough. That's
Yeah,
rough.
or that might be debatable. Mark was good in that, but at the very least, he got overshadowed by Leo, which I mean,
And
who is famously overshadowed by other people.
And
as well.
who normally is the one that gets overshadowed.
But then also everybody got overshadowed by Jack Nicholson because
I was about to say that
because he was famously so not Boston in that movie. He was just Jack Nicholson. But to be fair, Jack Nicholson can overshadow some shit. I mean, you know,
it's warranted. Yeah. I mean, so what would you say is your favorite like performance from Matt Damon then?
Team America.
Jastin?
Oh.
I'm Matt Damon.
Scotty doesn't know.
I'm Matt Damon.
It's not that Scotty doesn't know.
Yeah, Euro Trip. He did a fantastic job lip syncing to somebody else singing a song.
Right.
That's a good question, though. What's his best?
Because I agree with you. I think he's a good actor. I'm just not sure I can nail down like the one movie that I'm like, that's him all day.
He played a super good redneck with Alan Tudyk at the beginning of Deadpool 2.
Yes.
Man, I don't know. He's had some good ones though. Like
I mean,
you
the
already
Bourne movies are
said,
good.
Goodwill, the Bourne movies,
In all
that Martian
seriousness-
movie he was really good in that.
In all seriousness, he is actually very good in Dogma.
Oh my goodness. How did I forget Dogma? He's
yeah,
so
he
good
is good in that.
He is very good in Dogma.
He's got one of the funniest parts in that movie to me. Yeah, totally. You didn't say God bless you when I sneezed. He just kills the whole room of people. It's so good.
Yeah, like he's
also very good in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Playing himself.
Going back to Dogma though, I do still think that Ben Affleck is better in that.
Well, he is the bigger role.
Yeah,
because he's
but
the
I'm just
one
saying.
that fully goes off the deep end.
Yeah.
Like Loki just loses himself, whereas Bartleby just loses faith.
Yeah. Which is a more compelling story.
Yeah.
To me, in that movie anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Justin, we'll see. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is the movie that will make me think Matt Damon's just not another guy.
Watch him be overshadowed by Tom Holland. Or John Bernthal, though.
Or John Bernthal. I remember
Which is not hard to,
Bernthal was
like-
kind of cooking though in that trailer.
John Bernthal is a good actor, honestly.
Oh yeah, he's hella good.
I mean, how is he going
I
to get
like him.
overshadowed by no Tom Holland, man? Tom Holland just sitting there like, I'm Ulysses Jr. My father went to the Trojan War and built a horse.
Would you be happy though, Sterling,
I'm
if this is
Spider-Man.
like the movie that you're just like, this man is that caliber of actor that I wanted?
Who?
Tom Holland. What if this is that movie for you? You're just pleasantly surprised that you're just like, Tom Holland, he's that guy.
Yeah, maybe if this was 1982 when we were still accepting people just being British for Greek people. I mean, come on. He sits
I
there.
wanna
He
see-
just sits there and says dumb shit all the time with his little British voice. And people think he's all endearing. He's an idiot. Yeah,
But
I'm
I
calling you
just-
out, Tom Holland.
Maybe I didn't remember this trailer.
just real
but I thought he
mad.
had an English, I didn't really remember him having an accent.
No, he does. Just sounds like a British
Oh, okay.
motherfucker. He's all. Well, what was that? Who did he play in that one play? Billy York or whatever.
Billy Elliot?
Yeah, he's all. I'm Billy Elliot.
But I just want to see this like dynamic, like, with the cast of people too, because also isn't Zendaya in this? I'm curious what she's gonna do.
She's my girlfriend. I'm Spider-Man.
Do we think that he's just done once he gets married? Right, he's just done acting.
Yeah. I did an Uncharted once.
Stop it.
No, the reason why I have such disdain for Tom Holland is because there was some video, it's like Lad Bible or something, where they're like, oh, like, yeah, try some like American foods. And he's all, what is American food? And the guy was like, well, like hamburgers. He's like, oh, yeah, hamburgers, from Hamburg, Germany. I'm like, well, no, you're wrong, Tom Holland. Mr. I'm cultured European. Like, no, hamburgers are not from Hamburg. They just used a Hamburg patty, which is the hamburger patty, sure. But the hamburger itself is uniquely American and was created in New Haven, Connecticut, you degenerate fuck. Fuck you, Tom Holland.
I love that is your reason for having disdain for him.
Yeah,
I really like him, so I don't have any issues with him.
That's why, to me, no matter what, he sounds like a little British orphan in everything he does.
Even when he's Spider-Man?
Yeah. I'm Spider-Man.
I don't know. I think that
I'll stop you, Doc Ock, after I eat my fish and chips.
I feel like we talked about this in like some of his Spider-Man movies, but like the way he delivers a line for me, I think he is really good at it. But anyways, we can move on from that.
Where's my mushy peas, Aunt Bay? That's all he sounds like to me.
Do you feel like that's how he goes through his relationship with Zendaya?
Yeah.
Just sounding like that?
Zendaya.
Please marry me.
Please marry me, Zendaya, please. Yeah, all he sounds like to me. Everything now. Once he apologizes for the origin of the hamburger, I'll forgive him. Just saying. In other news, CBS has announced they are canceling altogether The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in May of 2026. They say it's a financial decision. It hasn't stopped them from making 9,000 Sheldon shows from Big Bang Theory, but oh, God forbid, we just have a guy that interviews people and might criticize the president. But, you know, they need the government's approval to do their big sale and make a lot of money. So, I don't know, coincidental?
It is a shame. I like Colbert a lot.
Well, hey, the guy's going to be out of work for like half a second.
True.
I guarantee you, he's already got his next show almost lined up. The second
That's a
that
good
was
point.
announced, he just got bags of money thrown at him to be in something starting in June of 2026. I mean, he'll be fine. But we're just losing essentially an iconic institution. It's been around since 1993. Started with David Letterman. So you have a show that's had two hosts since 1993. The first thing to really take on The Tonight Show. And CBS just goes, oh, it's so expensive. I bet they asked Tom Holland about it. And he's all, it costs about too much quid.
This grudge against Tom Holland is
I know.
everything right now.
Now he's catching
Great.
strays on this conversation.
I'll make the motherfucker catch strays all night long.
He needs that apology.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
Hamburg.
Watch that trailer for that Odysseus and when he's like, have you heard any stories about my papa? That's all you're going to hear. And John Bernthal's just going to be yelling, I got stories.
And I stole your girl.
What else? There's something else we were going to talk about. Oh, they cast Zelda and Link. They go in hella young.
Yeah.
Makes me really sad that they didn't cast the woman from Cuckoo.
Hunter Schafer.
Yes,
Yeah.
God, she looks fucking perfect for it.
Mm.
And she's honestly, again, really good actress. Really good.
You know, like I get people are like, oh, but trans people, motherfucker, you can't get more Zelda than her. The only thing, the only difference between Zelda and her is the fact that Zelda has pointy ears. That's
Yeah.
it. Outside of that, Hunter Schafer looks like Zelda.
Correct.
Like, it would not surprise me that when she transitioned, she went, I want to look like Zelda. And that doctor should win an award because she looks like fucking Zelda. It's insane. There has never been a human ever that looked more like Zelda than that. It would not surprise me if the creator of Zelda was a time traveler and went forward in time and saw her and went, that's it, and then made Zelda. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Agree.
But yeah, they're just going hella young. So at least that's a good reason to not cast Hunter Schafer, is if you're going young. Okay. I'll accept that because, age is a thing.
Yeah.
So, I'll accept that.
Yeah, that's fair. But it just would have been cool because literally she is Zelda.
Also, it kind of makes me mad at her that she hasn't cosplayed as Zelda. Just do it already. Just do it.
At this point, yeah. Maybe they'll do that whole like Channing Tatum thing of let down the road she gets some like property where it lets her be Zelda in an alternate universe.
Oh, like some Smash Brothers thing, and she at least is the chic side of it.
Yep.
There was one other thing I wanted to talk about, and I don't remember what. It's impossible to know now. So you guys want to talk about Superman?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Up and away.
Somebody will listen to me.
Nobody knows anything but you.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on.
Cinema Slayers.
Hey, Cinefans, and welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Slayers podcast. I'm Sterling, and as always, I'm joined by Heather and Jastin. And tonight we're going to talk about what we like, didn't like, and everything in between with the newest 2025 rendition of Superman. We will go spoiler-free recommendations and scores, and then into a more spoiler-centric section to allow you to jump around about time, with time to the description to allow you to jump around in both audio and video formats. With all that, I guess, Jastin, you're a resident Superman expert. You know more than me and Heather. I'm assuming. Heather, I'm assuming you don't know much about Superman.
This is a correct assumption.
Okay, good. At least my assumption was correct. All right, Jastin, what you got? What are your spoiler-free thoughts about this here Superman?
Which, before you go in, I am curious. Did you watch all of the other Superman movies leading up to this?
No, I did not do that.
Okay.
I thought about watching The Man of Steel, though, to make comparisons, but then I was like, I think I remember it enough. I didn't want to watch it again that bad.
That is the exact reaction I have anytime I think about watching Man of Steel. Like, yeah, I saw it once. I'm good.
Yeah, I remember it enough. Maybe it won't be necessary for this. But yeah, I guess that makes sense though what you said, because Child Jastin was a Superman stan. I was all about the Superman, like many little kids. I'm sure that was like my first like real just number one like superhero. I was a Superman guy. I had so many toys. I was the kid, wrapping my coat around my neck like a cape and acting like you were flying and stuff. So I was one of those Superman kids.
The funny thing is I was always a Marvel fan.
Oh, really?
I always leaned Marvel. When it came to movies, though, you had to be a DC fan, though, because there were no Marvel movies back in the day. It was essentially just Batman. It was either a bunch of Supermans made before I was born or Batmans. That was it.
And see, like when it comes to comics, I didn't really get introduced to Marvel Comics until I got to school and met some of the cool kids who were like, well, yeah, I know you like Superman and stuff, but have you read some Spider-Man? Have you read some X-Men? Have you read? And then I was like, oh, wow, these people exist. And that was like a lot of fun. But when I came in on Superman, it was because of he had such like an influence on cartoons on television, in movies. Superman was everywhere. Like, I mean, it was just, even if you weren't a comic book reader, chances are you saw Superman in some form of media because he was freaking everywhere. So, like, maybe a lot of it was that too.
Yeah, I remember watching some of the old cartoons here and there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where they were like little 15-minute episode type things, like where they're real quick, you know, little
I remember
things.
those.
Yeah. I watched a few of those, but I never was really into Superman for the longest time. Like, I mean, honestly, you can say now I still am not directly into Superman, but I'm more appreciative of Superman now than I was back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, my first real introduction to Superman was Death of Superman. You know, that comic, the video game, the whole, just, that was a news story. When they killed Superman, that was a fucking news story.
Yeah,
You know,
it was.
That was on newspapers. That was on the Today Show. That was local news. Everyone was talking about the fact that they ran Death of Superman.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
You know, and yeah, I read those comics and like the video game. I remember the old Super Nintendo video game of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I played a lot of that for whatever reason. Never a big Superman fan, but I'm like, fuck yeah. No way.
I remember, now this is old as fuck, but I remember the Superman arcade game. It was a 2-player side-scrolling arcade game where you played as him and Captain Marvel. Because, you know, they had similar powers, so it was easy to palette swap them. And they had the same moves. It was just, you know, Captain Marvel.
The glorious days of just palette swapping characters. Fantastic.
Yes. But hey, if you're going to palette swap 2 characters that could have similar moves, I mean, it's those two. Like, so.
What do you mean, Jastin? One has Kryptonian strength and the other one has the strength of Hercules or Solomon or whatever. Wildly different.
Yeah. So it's interesting, though, when you ask person to person what their history is with Superman. I guess in a way, because he's so like important to comics and superheroes, everyone probably has some sort of relationship with him, you know, whether he's the one you don't really read because you don't think he's cool enough, but you still know who he is, or whether you're kind of like you said, you go in and out between respecting him and like, there are certain stories that are some of my favorite comic book stories that are Superman stories. Kingdom Come is still one of my favorite comic book stories, and that's a Superman story. I was one of those people that was all up in the death of Superman and all that stuff when that came out. That was such a big deal. Some of those Crisis on Infinite Earths and all those storylines, I guess that's more of a Justice League story, but I don't know. I still consider it. A lot of it had to do with Soup. So yeah, man, like he's just, I'm pretty sure anybody you ask that likes superheroes or anything probably has some sort of association relationship with Superman. But anyway, and obviously when it comes to the cinematic Superman, now we've lived long enough to have seen all these different versions. And we've had all these different actors now play Superman. And it's like, that's almost like a whole nother rabbit hole. It's talking about the actors and the renditions of Superman we've seen over the years, because that's a lot of shit too. That could cover a whole podcast too. Just talking about like what human beings have played this character. So we've gotten a lot of Superman over the years when you think about it. So, and then the last Superman we got was Henry Cavill's. Superman. You know, the Man of Steel, the Zack Snyder's Superman. And I liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he looked the part. As far as playing a Superman that was powerful, but I guess a little edgier and darker. You know, I thought that Cavill, I didn't like every decision. Some of that was more on Snyder than it was on Cavill. But I think Cavill did a respectable job as the Snyder Supes.
I agree with you on that, Jastin. He did the best he could with what I consider a horribly written Superman.
Yes. 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 And so finally, let's talk about this one. All that other shit. I mean, I guess really the first thing I want to say is just that James Gunn just understands how to make an entertaining movie. And James Gunn damn near has this down to a science. Like the way Lex Luthor in this movie had it down to a science of how he was going to beat Superman. I'm almost convinced that James Gunn has it down to a science of how to make an entertaining movie.
Are you saying James Gunn based his own Lex Luthor on himself when it comes to making
Probably
this movie?
did. It probably did. He might have. He might have. He might have, because yes, everything is all a plan to make this super duper just entertaining movie. And I mean, if you've seen all the Guardians of the Galaxies, the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, it's not going to be news to you that James Gunn has done it again. He has made an entertaining ass movie. Like, regardless of how you feel about how Superman came off in this, or was it right, or how accurate, comic accurate is it, and et cetera. Did you like it better than Snyder's Man, et cetera, et cetera. Despite all of those things, I think at the heart of this is just an entertaining movie. It's just got a lot of heart. It's just got a lot of soul, and it's got a lot of joy, and it's got a lot of hope. And for somebody who is a fan of Superman, that is Superman. That's what he's about. He's supposed to be about this symbol of hope and optimism and fun, and he's colorful. He's not dark, and he's not brooding, and that's Batman. That's what he's there for. But Superman is supposed to be the opposite of that. And so not only does James Gunn understand how to make an entertaining movie, I felt like James Gunn really understands Superman. So when you're in this movie, there are certain lines and there are certain things where I just couldn't help but just say to myself as I'm hearing it, that's Superman. That's what he would think. That's what he would say. This is the stance he would take. This is probably how he would view the situation. So I appreciated all of that. He makes some decisions in the story and the writing that I think at first were a little weird, because the way he tells this story, it's different. How he chooses to start the story is different from what I've seen from a lot of comic book movies and stories. But again, he does it in such an entertaining way. He takes a couple of risks, I think, in this movie, as far as just scenes he chose to keep in and not cut out and different things like that. But for the most part, I think he makes the right decisions. There are some times, though, where I do feel like, because James Gunn likes his comedy in his movies, and there may have been some times where I felt like maybe he should have let the scene breathe, but all of a sudden there's a funny moment, and I sometimes wondered if maybe if we had not, did we need the laugh there when maybe we could have let some things just kind of marinate and happen. There's one scene in particular where he does that sticks out like a sore thumb. I felt like he could have let it breathe a little more, and he wanted to move on to the next thing. And I was like, I would have let it breathe more. But overall, man, I really, really enjoyed this movie. David Cornsweet is a good Superman. He looks like Superman. He carried himself like Superman. There were parts where I thought the acting by him was good. I liked him with Lois Lane. I liked him with Lex Luthor. I liked him with Crypto, the Superdog. I mean, all of it is just fun, entertaining acting. So he's a good Superman. But as far as comparatively, like, to certain actors and certain roles, like, I felt like David Cornsweet is a good Superman. And that's not saying anything against him. I think that that's true. He is a good Superman. Rachel Brosnahan, is that how you say the last name?
Brosnahan, I think.
Brosnahan. Okay. I'm glad I asked. I figured I was saying that wrong. Rachel Brosnahan is a great Lois Lane, though. Like, she was excellent. Like everything that I think I picture a Lois Lane should be, she was. So yes, Cornsweet is a good Superman, but I think she's like a great Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult is a great Lex Luthor. I thought that I would never see a Lex Luthor that rivals Michael Rosenbaum. It does. I think he's right there with Rosenbaum. They're different kind of Lex Luthors, but this one leans more into the genius, like intelligence and like kind of conniving Lex Luthor a little bit more than the other Michael Rosenbaum. I think the other Rosenbaum Lex Luthor was more, yes, he was smart in that and everything, but I think that leaned a little more into like the conniving and kind of more like the philosophical, kind of more like, I don't know, Sterling, like maybe you could say like...
He's more manipulative.
Yes, the manipulative part of Lex Luthor.
But where they both converge, and I think that's why they both work so well and why Nicholas Hoult is so great in this, is because they both also lean on the obsessive.
Yes, the obsessiveness of Lex Luthor. Yes.
And they both have that in spades.
Yes.
And it's just, this one is more just genius, where both the Michael Rosenbaum one was just, I guess, almost more people smart. He was just more manipulative. He could read a person and manipulate. But they both had that obsessive quality to them.
Yes. But man, I love Nicholas Hoult in this. I mean, like in the trailers and stuff, we were all like, oh, I think he'll be good. You know, it was not like, even when you saw the teaser in the trailers, you were like, hey, he looks like him. I mean, he was moving like him. You know, we didn't know anything yet, but it seemed like a good fit. And then you get in there and you're watching him and you're just like, wow, this is a perfect fit. But I don't, and definitely as far as the movies are concerned, there's never been a more entertaining Lex Luthor. Like, just none of them. Gene Hackman, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
Jesse Eisenberg.
Gene Hackman had the problem of every one of his things being a fucking Landale, though.
Yeah, that's true. And I still like the Gene Hackman performance. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad Lex Luthor, but this is one of the most like accurate, like not only comic accurate, just accurate portrayals of that character. And I loved how they leaned into him just not being a good person.
Well,
like,
real quick before you move to that part, just with what you were saying before, the reason why this Lex Luthor works better than Gene Hackman, or Jesse Eisenberg or even the Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, yes. That's who I was forgetting.
This one feels like he could beat Superman.
Yes.
This one feels like he can beat Superman. None of the other ones could. I don't care what plot devices they put in a movie. You know, when they put that chain of kryptonite and he sinks into a pool, you know, all that bullshit. None of those other Lexes could beat Superman. This one could.
Yeah. Where and that was one good thing that Gunn was just great at depicting with that. Like, for all of the powers and goodness that Superman had, Lex Luthor really seemed like, on the other side, he was a super evil, genius, conniving, manipulating, obsessive, but so calculating of a person that maybe he could beat Superman. Like it's crazy how perfect of an opposite he was, but it made this movie so entertaining, and leaning into them being polar opposites, not getting too philosophical like we did in the Snyderverse, not having to make them edgy or similar in some ways like we've done in some of the other depictions. I think it was great how James Gunn did it. Man, I want to say so much more, but I'll stop because I want you guys to talk too. But like, even the other supporting actors in this, though, I like the whole Justice Gang.
Oh,
I
Mr.
like
Terrific.
all of them.
Oh,
Was terrific, wasn't he? Doesn't he just have the right name?
Oh yeah, just it was fucking great. Like I want to use other adjectives, but he's Mr. Terrific.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so you just show respect. Say he's terrific. But even Nathan Fillion as the Guy Gardner.
Oh man!
And dude, people don't understand how insanely comic accurate that was in some instances too, because Guy Gardner is notorious for any time anybody asks him to do something he doesn't want to do, he just goes, "Oh, that's against my Green Lantern oath." You know, and that stupid haircut, which I get that he was just like, I wanted Nathan Fillion to look stupid on camera because they're all good friends and all this other shit. But like, also, that's a comic accurate as fuck haircut. Like,
yep.
You know, and it just fucking worked. Like, it was really fucking great. Like, with the way they did that. But in all seriousness, with all that though, Mr. Terrific steals the show when it comes to the Justice Gang, though.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how, and that's a character I didn't know much about. I knew of him, but I didn't know much about him. And now, after this movie, I'm like, well, damn, I missed out. Like, this dude's cool. This dude is awesome. Like, I really missed out on somebody, you know, that I didn't know about in the comics and everything. So they were cool. And it's a great lesson in, like, because we talked about this in other movies that we've seen. Black Adam comes to mind because they had justice people. You know what
Justice
I mean?
Society, yeah.
The Justice Society. And they tried to have them in there and kind of be sort of an integral part with Black Adam and everything. And it just totally failed because they just weren't written in a way that they were interesting or entertaining, or their minutes weren't used well. There wasn't, but here, we don't know everything about these characters, but they serve the purpose of making us feel like this is a metropolis, this is a world that is lived in, and there are superheroes, and they are doing things, and they are active, and they are a part of Superman's life. We don't know everything about these characters, but it left it open in a way to where you're like, oh man, but I'm excited to learn more about them. You know, I didn't need to know everything. I didn't need to go through all their origins. I didn't need to know all of that stuff. They were so entertaining. They were so compelling, and they did just enough with them. They were just enough involved with the story to be significant, but not overshadow Superman and the main part of his life and his people. So it was a great balance. And Gunn, he walked that tightrope. He just did it perfectly with them.
Well, it shows you the difference between when movies feel like the characters feel like they're living in a universe versus just characters in a movie.
Yes.
Black Adam,
sure.
they're all characters in a movie. This one makes it feel like they're existing characters in a universe.
Yeah.
So by default, you feel depth. You feel life. You feel, moments with these characters. You don't feel like their life begins and ends with opening credit and ending credits. And that's the difference. It's the world in which you put them in. And James Gunn is the one that builds those worlds. He builds worlds.
Yeah, he really does. He's not just thinking, oh, this character or oh, this movie. It just feels like you just feel like there is a plan and there's thought and development with everything. And he is just an incredibly talented person, man.
It really is kind of like it feels like his scripts begin 5 pages before the movie does and end 5 pages after the movie.
Yeah. It really does feel like that.
You know what I mean? Like because like you said, it's all about the thought. It's all about the intention. It's all about the intention with your characters, just crafting that idea. And he feels like he might actually think, like, whether it's in a movie or not, he might actually sit there and go, I wonder what Mr. Terrific's favorite meal is. Not because it's in a movie, but because it just helps him write a character.
Yep. Yeah. He is, I swear, he is like that because he just seems to understand and think about those things and understand how to, like, have a depth of character without having to give you all of it. He's just very, very good at that. Certain directors, certain writers are good at that, but he's definitely good at depicting that. And the last thing I'll say is not only is he great with how he handles all of the people in this, but how does this guy do it with these animals and these people or these robots or these inanimate objects? Or how in the world does he find a way, like whether it's a super dog or it's a Groot tree or it's a freaking, what was it the eagle in
Eagly?
Eagly. How does he do it, man? How does he just knows where to put them, when to take them out, where they're going to be funny, where they're going to be useful, where they're going to mean something how they mean something to the characters. Like he just seems to know how to do it, man.
Well, this one, it's interesting. The reason why Crypto works so well in this movie is Crypto's based on his dog.
Yes.
So Crypto's based on his dog, even right down to the looks. They took his dog and they palette swapped it to be white like Crypto. They just took a bunch of, he had like home videos and all this other stuff. So like the video where that part at the very beginning of the movie when Crypto's jumping on Superman, that's from a video of his dog playing with his cat. And they just more or less palette swapped it and used it. Like, it really is that simple. He just uses real life shit. And thinks of it like real life shit. Like the way Peacemaker treats Eagly is just like how I would treat my cat. You know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those things.
Yeah.
He's pulling on real world experience in that regard of like, oh, it's not just, oh, it's his pet, it's a sidekick, whatever. You have to have the character act like it too. And then that gives, and so Eagly in return acts like a pet. It doesn't act like some eagle sidekick, acts like a pet.
Yeah.
So that it's a little thing like that adds depth. It might not be something you actively think about when you're watching Eagly and Peacemaker. But it's why you don't just think Eagly is wrong in Peacemaker. Because if you've had a pet or had something like that or seen that, like, it just feels familiar. So you just accept it. because you're just familiar with that situation, and you don't second guess it. You don't think something's wrong. You don't think it's this, that. It just feels natural in that regard.
True. And that's exactly how it felt. It didn't feel like, because sometimes, man, in these movies, and there are hella movies where characters have pets or animals or things like that. And sometimes, doesn't it just totally feel like they're just trying to pull on the heartstrings of kids or pet owners? It just feels like shameless kid pet owner jerk off bullshit.
Well,
Like Jurassic World?
Yes, like that.
Well, it's the difference between almost making a character for merchandise or just lucking out because you have a great character and you get merchandise. Crypto's
Yes.
in this movie to be crypto. But in return, they're going to sell 1 billion cryptos.
Yep.
Instead of it being crypto, the Wonder Dog, that just shows up at the beginning of the movie so they can sell some cryptos. You know what I mean? Like, he's in the movie to be a character in the movie. It's just because it's such a great character, you're going to sell 1 billion. It really is just like it's the baby Groot of it all, not the full grown Groot, but the baby Groot.
Yes.
Like, baby
is.
Groot is a vital part of the movie, but we'll sell 1 billion baby Groots. You know.
Yes.
So it really is, and that's the James Gunn effect. Weirdly enough, that's just what James Gunn can do. Because, like you said, Jastin, how many times do we see that in everything else? Like, what Jurassic World Rebirth? What was that thing, Dolores?
Yeah, Dolores.
Dolores was there to sell merchandise,
Yep.
and that's why Dolores was kind of dumb.
What did Dolores do?
She ate a Kit Kat or something, right?
It
What
was
did
like
she
it was
do?
I think it was like, I don't know, some kind of candy, but yeah, like I thought at some point she was going to go in and like help save or something. And that was
Yeah.
not the case.
What?
Cute, but that's it.
Nah, she dumb. Like, but that's the thing. She's also tied to my least favorite part of the movie, so I don't like her. It does nothing for me. But I get it. If I had a 5-year-old kid, sure, I would probably have to buy a Dolores on their way home. Like, I get it, I guess. Like, I'd feel bad about it. I'd be like, you don't want just the regular T-Rex? That at least mattered something? Like, can we get something that matters?
Yeah.
But like, if I had a 5-year-old and I'm leaving this, I'd happily buy them a crypto.
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah, that's a good character. Good job.
Yeah. And I'm not a pet owner or anything, but even in some of those scenes, I was like, man, but you know, I'm not a pet owner now, but I was. And he's just so good about making relatable stuff happen with the animals and just stuff like you said. He's just, man, this guy just knows what he's doing. So yeah, I had fun with this, and just every frame of it just feels realized and thought out, and just for the most part, most of it is executed well. Is it a perfect movie? No, but it might be the perfect Superman movie, in my opinion.
Is it kind of weird that this is at least, as far as I can remember, at least the third podcast we've done where we're just talking about how James Gunn just gets it?
Yeah.
We've done a minimum of 3. There could be a 4th one out there, but we've done at least 3 of us just going, James Gunn knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Heather,
deny it.
right? It really is funny. We've spent so much time just going, man, James Gunn just understands how to make movies. Heather, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that I agree with. And like, it was funny too, with you talking earlier about everybody has some understanding or like sort of like relationship in a way of knowing who Superman is. And I'm one of those people too. Like, I grew up with my dad loving Superman, but the thing is, it's such a like iconic character that I actually don't even remember when I first was introduced to Superman. Like, it's just one of
That
those.
makes a lot of
he's
sense,
just been
though.
around since I've been born. You
Let's
know,
say no one does. No
He's
one-
such a part of the culture.
No
you
one
know, at
since
this point.
1933 remembers when they were introduced to Superman.
yeah,
He just
he is. Yeah,
is in your life all of a sudden.
he's a part of the culture, and like it's just funny because I'm like, I've always known who Superman is, but I don't know why I knew who Superman was. I just did. Like, that's what I remember. So that does tell you how much, how much of an iconic character Superman is. And again, also so many different movies that have been done and people that have played Superman over the years of my lifetime. Like, it's just funny because I've always been like, okay, yeah, Superman, that's cool. Like, I liked, somehow, me being the like non-loving of animated stuff as much as I am, I actually liked the animated Superman. Like, when I think, because he was in like some of the Batman stuff too, right?
Mhm.
Well, there was that Superman animated show that was done kind of in the style of Batman
Yes.
the Animated Series.
Yes. And that I do remember that. And I was a kid, but I remember watching that with my brother. And like, that's a very like ingrained memory that I have. So yeah, I've just always kind of known. And then my dad like always being like, oh, Superman movie's on. And then it was just playing because it was a Superman movie. Like, that's just kind of what it was in our house. So I've seen a decent amount of Superman. I can't say I've seen all of them. And to be honest, I don't remember all of them. But I will say, like, as of late, from the more recent Superman movies I've seen, this has definitely been the most entertaining for me. I think it was, again, like, James Gunn is a genius, honestly. Like, I don't know why at this point I haven't been like, yeah, he's probably my favorite filmmaker because he's just so good at what he does. But I think that it's also just like a wild, like, to also just talk a little bit about like the Lex Luthor of it all. It's wild too, because Michael Rosenbaum, I've only seen a little bit of Smallville, but I understand like how great he is. To also like put Nicholas Hoult on the level of somebody who played Lex Luthor for how many years, and to say that he's still on that level.
I think Rosenbaum did it for 7.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't on the whole
Yeah.
show.
Right.
He
Yeah.
was on it for like 7, and then he came back again a little bit at the very end.
Mm-hmm. And I agree, because I think he was a great Lex Luthor. But he had 7 seasons to build this guy, to build this character and to be this character that we know.
And this might be getting a little into the weeds of it all, but one reason why Michael Rosenbaum will always be one of my favorite Lexes is because he was also an amazing Zod. Like, when you first get Zod having taking over his body, and he does all that shit, whenever you hear Michael Rosenbaum as Lex possessed by Zod saying kneel before Zod, oh my God, it was just sexually fulfilling on just some like unheard of level when that happened. I'm still obsessed with that.
I mean, but like, and this isn't to take away from his performance at all, because he is like, you think of a Lex Luthor performance, that's the one that you're like, that's the one. But like, to say that Nicholas Hoult was already on the level of him in one movie over a person that was like 7 seasons in, like, to say he's on that level of he could be that good, or he's equally as like interesting of a Lex Luthor, I think that says a lot.
See, just one small counterpoint I want to bring up is Michael Rosenbaum was that Lex with the level of writing that Smallville was. Okay.
Fair point.
True.
Okay. He elevated the fuck out of that, people. Nicholas Hoult kind of cheated. He had James Gunn writing him, okay? We just got done waxing poetic about how fantastic James Gunn is. Okay. Nicholas Hoult cheated. Now, does Nicholas Hoult win? Yes, he does. But I'm just saying he cheated. But he did win. he got the W, the record. It's his. But he cheated.
No, and that's a fair point. I totally, and again, it's not to take away, because Michael Rosenbaum, his performance is fantastic. He's a phenomenal actor in what he was given on that show, from my understanding, because again, I've only seen a little bit of it. My understanding is it kind of really went in a crazy off the rails direction.
No, it didn't go in a
But-
crazy off the rails direction. It went in a very bad direction.
I see. Okay.
And
but
it's when
either
he
way-
left the show. I can distinctly remember when Smallville
Yeah, a
dies.
lot of
It's-
that was-
when he fucking leaves the show. Smallville as we know it dies.
That kind of makes sense, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, so it's not at all taking away from the amazingness of Michael Rosenbaum. It's just interesting to say, like, we finally got somebody on the level of like the one and only Lex Luthor that people talk about as being the best, you know? So I think that's great.
Not to interject again, but I'm going to. One reason also why it might feel like this is because James Gunn is actually good friends with Michael Rosenbaum. And
Oh, okay.
was actually a fan of Smallville. Because one of the changes in this movie versus the comics is it is Luthor Corp. In the comics, it's Lex Corp. Luthor Corp is from Smallville.
Smallville.
Oh, okay.
I
yeah.
noticed that too.
So, and James Gunn has specifically said he calls it Luthor Corp because of Smallville.
Nice.
And like I
Okay.
said, he is friends with Michael Rosenbaum. Michael Rosenbaum plays small parts in some of his other movies. He's in some of the Guardians movies and stuff like that. But yes, like they are friends. And so
I wonder if he approached him about playing it, like reprising it.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because like it was to go young. But I could see where there would be some parallels though with him writing that Lex character.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
openly acknowledges Smallville being an influence on him when it comes
Okay.
to this. So that could be why there are so many parallels between the two, is because there could have been aspects of this. And then you have Nicholas Hoult just portraying it in his way. You know, earlier when we were talking and I brought up the obsessiveness, he could have just pulled that version, that aspect of the obsessiveness, because that is something true to Lex with it. But the way it's portrayed was distinct with Michael Rosenbaum, but it could influence how this one was obsessed too.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that does make sense then. But I mean, and yeah, all of that to say, Nicholas Hoult was excellent. He was excellent in this movie. He was really good. I like everything that he brought to that character. But again, I think that everybody in this movie was really well cast. David Corenswet, great. Like, I think something, and again, it's been a little bit since I've seen any of the other Superman movies, but this Superman / Clark felt like he had a personality. It wasn't just Superman personality. It wasn't just superhero personality. It was like, he felt like a real person. He just felt like somebody you would just know. That's, you know, trying to figure out his relationship and trying to do, like, he just felt like an actual person who was developed as a person. And I appreciated that because, you know, and it's that sense of like Superman is the, you know, the ultimate good superhero, whatever. It just, you don't always get the personality side of him when you think about Superman. And I think that David Corenswet brought a lot, which you see a lot in his scenes with Lois. I think you see a lot of who he is as a character and as a person when he's having scenes with her. Because I also agree, Rachel Brosnahan was great. And I do agree with you, Jastin. Like, I think that Rachel Brosnahan was a really great Lois. And it just, she was very fiery and very like strongly opinionated and very confident. And I feel like none of that was forced. Like, it didn't feel like forced emotion or like they're, you know, kind of like what we're talking about. Like, James Gunn knows how to write a character. So it's like, it's not just like, hey, when you're on screen saying the words, act like you're just really, you know, opinionated about this thing and that you really want people to know how you feel about it. Like, it's just like, hey, how do you feel about this? Like, it just, there is such a big difference because it felt like, again, she felt like a person you would know. She felt like a journalist who's like, this is how I feel about it. And I'm just literally telling you how I feel about this. And I just really appreciated the way that she was written as well, because like, I'm not gonna lie, like Lois isn't always like my favorite character in Superman, you know. But I enjoyed their dynamic in this, and I enjoyed her as a character where she's just like really like learning what this world is kind of that she's involved in now that she's involved with Superman, but also like I don't know, she's good at her job, but you know that she cares. Like she's just kind of somebody that has specific morals and opinions on things, and she doesn't waver unless she's given exact proof to waver on that. And you just really see all of that in her character here, and it was really, really great. So, and I think that's why their dynamic works so well, because like independently as characters, you're just like, man, their personalities feel so opposite, but they're not really, like it just kind of works really well. It is that opposites attract thing, but not to the degree of they're too opposite, and like, I don't know. And I also just like how they did their story in this, which we will get into in spoilers, but I like how their story is told and unfolds in this movie specifically. And I agree. I think the supporting characters, fantastic. Mr. Terrific is so standout. Isabella Merced as Hawk Girl, great. Nathan Fillion is a very charming man, and he just can always play that and do it well. And I like what he brought here. And yeah, everybody really just brought something really good to the roles that they were given in this. And maybe that's why I liked this movie better. Like, I feel like it's more memorable. I feel like the characters are more memorable, but the performances are more memorable in a lot of ways for me. So yeah, it's just easy for me to say that this is, as of now, of course, recency bias could be included. This is probably one of my favorite Superman movies. Like, that's just me personally. I feel like it had a lot more to say that's more relevant. Which I guess maybe that's technically always sort of Superman's story, but the way it's told here and just in the political climate we're in, like, I just appreciated how they approached things. Everything about this really worked. Really, like, has this heart behind it, like you said, Jastin, and just very wholesome moments. And they make some choices in this that are not what I expected, but in a good way. Like, I was pleasantly surprised with some certain things, how they tell certain parts of the story. And I'm glad they did it that way, even if I didn't expect it, because I think it really adds to the overall story of what this movie is. So it's really just really well done. Great storytelling. I do like how it's paced because, like you said, also, Justin, it's very different. Like, there's just the acts of this movie are not done in the most normal of ways, but it really kind of helps you be engaged in this movie the whole time, especially. And I think maybe that was part of James Gunn's genius of, like, how many Superman stories have we heard? Do we need to start it the exact same way as we always do? Do we need to Batman this thing up? We don't need to do that. Like, we can just kind of do a different thing and make it our own. And you kind of literally are dropped into this movie. You're dropped into this world, into this story that we're being told, and you're just going from there. And that really helps you appreciate this movie and the story a lot more. So overall, yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah, kind of going right off of what you just said. I love how James Gunn's approach to it, this movie, was everyone knows Superman's origin. You don't need to see it again. You don't. You know the story. And like you were saying, Heather, when it comes to being dropped into it, you're technically dropped into it right after Superman gets his ass kicked. Mid-battle. Like, you're dropped into it that quickly. Or like that, not that quickly, but like at a weird point. Like, and so this movie is like this really kind of confusing thing for me, because it's by far my favorite Superman. By far. This movie's also kind of a mess. narratively speaking, it's a little bit of a mess. It's a little bit overstuffed. I think James Gunn just got a little excited and put a little too much into this fucking movie. And so it's really kind of weird that I'm sitting here because in liking the movie, because like I said, narratively, it's all over the place. A lot of movies, I think I would punish more for being narratively like this movie. But it also kind of shows to what we were talking about with James Gunn's ability to make movies. Even with the messiest of narratives, he makes an entertaining movie. It's still a good movie because he can just make up for the narrative shortcomings with everything else. He knows how to fill in those gaps with everything else. And the thing is I think he did that just to kind of give it a palatable runtime of 2 hours. I think his ultimate version of this movie is 2.5. But I think he thought 2 hours. Let's get people in. Let's get people out. Let's give people this 2-hour introduction to Superman. And ultimately, I have complaints and I have issues with this movie. It's great. It's still a great Superman movie. This is one of those movies where it shows you can just make comic book movies that are comic book movies and you don't have to hold people's hands. You don't have to do all these things. You just get to go, let the characters that have been around for decades be those characters. There's a reason why they've been around for decades. They've been selling comics for decades. Just do that. You don't have to get complicated. You don't have to have your trailer for a movie be all about the final 10 minutes of the movie because you're worried no one else will want to watch it. If you don't tell them the whole movie that Red Hulk's there. Just do the movie. Just do your character. Just do the things that people like about the character. Make fun of your character. I mean, there's been so many comic explanations as to why nobody recognizes Clark and Superman and all these other things. And this movie just said, fuck it, it's hypno glasses. But also on top of that, the TikToker, and I forgot who, they brought this up and I was like, oh, that's kind of a good point. There's also a reason why Clark Kent and Superman, you don't need hypno glasses. Because also, can you think of anybody that writes of a newspaper? Can you think about what any writer of a newspaper looks like? No. So yeah, why the fuck would anybody think Superman is Clark Kent? Nobody knows what the fuck Clark Kent looks like.
That's true.
Even the motherfuckers that know what Clark looks like because they work with him, are you really ever just going to think, oh yeah, that guy's Superman? Because, especially in this universe, everyone knows Superman's an alien. So are you really going to think an alien's just working at the newspaper? No. You're going to think he's just off doing alien shit. But it's a fun little nod to the comics. It's also a fun little nod to just the in general zeitgeist around Superman. Because everybody that knows Superman has made the joke of, oh, how does nobody know what Clark Kent and Superman are the same? Everybody's made that joke. So make a nod to it. Make fun of it. It's fine. It's just one of those things where this movie just works. In the end, it might be flawed. It might be this. It might be that. But fuck, it works. And it works spectacularly well. It's not one of those movies where I came out of it and I went, yeah, it worked. I was like, yeah, that was good. Like, it works to the point of you going, yeah, this is an exciting beginning to these new DC movies. I'm looking forward as fuck to Supergirl now. Even looking forward again to Jason Momoa again in the DC movies. Playing that Bastish Lobo. Looks good. And what's her name? She looked like she's going to be a fun Supergirl.
Millie Alcock.
Yep. Her.
Mm-hmm.
And without getting
the dragon.
Yeah, she was. She was the teenage dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this too. I want to talk about the end real quick with going into really no specifics. They tie a song, and I'll say what the song is. It's Punk Rocker by the Teddy Bears featuring Iggy Pop at the end of this movie. And that does nod back to a conversation earlier in the movie. But holy fuck, that was really just cool to me. I really just loved the way they tied that song into the visuals at the end of this movie. It was just really fucking cool. Like, just like solid. Like, it cemented that song in my head. I've like, that song has been like playing on repeat in my head since I saw this movie. But it's just a really cool ending. Like, really fitting, just really kind of, it weirdly to me ends the movie on this note of just excitement. Like, you're going into the end credits excited and like pumped. And that's great. That's what you want when you're openly acknowledging this, whilst being a standalone movie, is the first of a series to open up this universe. And that's what you want at the end of that movie. You want excitement. You want hope. You want anticipation. And I think this combination of the song and the very specific things they visualize, which we'll get into later with spoilers, I think really, really sells that point. And I just genuinely dug the fuck out of it. Recommendations and scores?
Yep.
Recommendations and score.
Heather, what you got?
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I think it is really good. I think it's got a little something for everybody. You know, it's got the action, it's got the superhero thing, it's got a nice little message in there, it's got a little romance, a little humor, it's got, you know, a dog. So if you're a dog lover or pet lover, it's got all of that in there for you. It's just really, really well crafted. And I think you make an interesting point saying that it's kind of a mess narratively. Like, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, like, watching it, I don't feel like that. Like, it's something you realize after you watch it. But when you're in the middle of watching it, you're just like, oh, I'm here for this ride. This is great. And the mess, it's like a good messy narrative because, yeah, they jam pack a lot of things in, but I think that everything pretty much mostly pays off, and you just get a satisfying story overall, and you get a very worthy Superman entry into the Superman world. And everything that James Gunn does, everything you love about James Gunn movies before this, you're going to love about this as well. And for me, like I said, I loved the performances and I loved the dynamics that Superman had with all of the other characters. Yeah, I think it's a really good film, and I definitely think it's worth your time. So a recommend for me for sure. I'm going to give it 85 cryptos playing with balls out of 100.
Jastin, what you got?
Yeah, it's going to be a recommend for me too. It's just a fun, very entertaining movie. And like we all said, it's got a lot of heart. It's got some good acting performances, and it even does have something to say sort of beneath the surface. And I get a little bit where you're coming from, Sterling, with about saying that it's a mess narratively. And I definitely can see that there are so many things that you're introduced to in this movie. And there's so many characters, and there's so many things happening, and there's so many like things that are going to be part of this universe that you're introduced to. And a lot of these things aren't fully developed or fleshed out like you would want to do like in a traditional cinematic movie. But I also think that this is definitely a movie that is a product of the time period. Kevin Smith said something very interesting when he reviewed this movie, and I just happened to catch his review on YouTube. And he said, with all of the things that James Gunn throws at you in this movie, he said, if this movie was made like 10 years ago, 20 years ago or something like that, he said, this would have been studio noted to death, because there's just a lot of stuff in here that like the studio would wonder, could the audience handle all of this? Like he said, when you look at some of the older superhero movies and Superman movies, like just give them one villain. Just give them one thing that we're trying to do. Just give them one person that he has to beat, one goal that he's trying to accomplish. Let's just give him a couple of characters from the Daily Planet that he's going to interact with, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said, and notice how as superhero movies went on, we started doing more things. Oh, and now more than one villain, or now we got more than one goal, or now we have a person looking inward and struggling with that, but then also trying to beat this villain, et cetera, et cetera. And he said that comic book movies and concepts and the culture is so ingrained in the everyday people now that you can have a movie like this where you are literally throwing all of these things at the audience, like super robots, pocket universe, all these other characters are in it, the Justice Gang, the Daily Planet, but then these other side characters, and then these characters within the pocket universe that we're meeting, and all of this kind of stuff. And he said, back then, you would have never been able to get away with this. Like, this would have just been absolute garbage. But we now live in a world, in a society now where all of us are now used to comic book shit. So you no longer have to attack a movie in the traditional way that you used to. And that's why this movie is still good, despite all this shit being in here. And he just kind of said that, and I didn't think about it when I watched the movie or at the time, but I do think there's some validity to that. And maybe that's why, even though you could argue this movie does have a lot in it, and maybe it does do things where in a traditional movie you would say it's breaking rules, or it's not doing it well, or it's doing it sloppy, or something like that, or it's messy, like what Sterling is talking about. But it's almost like that messy kid's room, but he knows where everything is. Like, he can find anything.
Okay, you don't have to describe me like that. That's kind of attacking. You don't have to be so pinpoint accurate with you attack. Okay, just like this is Sterling, your room. Just be nice.
I didn't know that. I did not know that was your room. But I mean, I've been there. That's been me a couple of times. But it's almost like that, right? Like, you look at it on the outside and it's messy as fuck. But that person knows where everything is, and knows where everything goes. And if they explain it to you And they can explain it to you in a way to where even though you might be looking at a mess, it all kind of makes sense where everything is. And maybe that's what James Gunn has done with this. He found a way to throw all of this at us, to introduce this universe, to have all these other characters, to have all these concepts, but still at the heart of it, tell a Superman story and get you to understand also why Superman is so important to this comic universe, this DC universe that we're about to, that we're starting with him. And that in and of itself is amazing. Yes, he's amazing, but I think it is also like what Kevin Smith said. It also works because of just how much comic book shit the general audience has now been given. So you no longer have to hold their hands. You no longer have to explain everything. You no longer have to start the traditional way that you normally start, like what you talked about, Heather. And that's interesting in and of itself.
And it's not only that, I feel like it's also, we're at a stage where people are craving more than that too. Like people want more of just like, give me something different. Give me a different type of superhero. Give me a superhero that deals with mental illness and like things like that. Like, I feel like that's also where we're at in the world right now of like, give me more dimensions to my superheroes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's an interesting topic to talk about. So maybe if this had come out, like you said, 20 years ago, maybe it'd barely be a C, but this is an A today because we now have an audience who can absorb this and still enjoy it and not be so worried about everything they're getting in it because they've seen so much shit that maybe this is the norm now. Maybe this is the new norm and it's happening before our eyes. So it's just an interesting thing that he said that I thought was really reflective. But all that to say, it works, man. Like you said, Sterling, like you said, Heather, it just works. Somehow it just goes together. And it does make me excited for what is to come for this new DC that we're getting. I guess I'll go, I mean, maybe just a few points higher than you, Heather. I don't think it's quite an A, but for a Superman movie, I think this is close. And I did enjoy this more than Thunderbolts. And I want to say I gave Thunderbolts like an 85, an 86, or I gave it a high B. Didn't I? Oh, I did give it an A, didn't I? I did.
Just at the cusp of A.
Yeah, I gave it a straight 90, didn't I? Dang, I like this more though.
To be fair, I gave Thunderbolts a lower score than I should have, so I wanted to adjust my score for that. So you can.
But at the same time, Justin, you can say you could be of the mind of Thunderbolts technically is a better movie, but you still enjoy this one better. That is like,
yeah, it's circling around in my head, and I think that's what it is. That's the difference. I was entertained more about this. I enjoyed this more. And also there is that kind of bias with Superman. I just know that character more. I just connect with that character a little bit more. But Thunderbolts is probably a better film. I mean, probably from a technical aspect, but I did think this was just as entertaining. So I at least got to give it the same. So I'm gonna give it the same score. I guess I will go 90. I was gonna go 88, but fuck it. It'll get a 90 from me. 90. Super Dogs giving you the the Hulk Loki treatment out of 100.
I do recommend it. I do enjoy it. Like I said, flaws and all, it's still just an insanely watchable and entertaining movie. It might be overstuffed. It might be, but kudos to Warner Brothers and DC for giving James Gunn the leeway to just make his movie, do it the way he wanted, to sit there and acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, especially with Superman, audiences don't need their hands fucking held the entire fucking movie. Maybe, just maybe, you could just do Superman. And we don't need his origin for the 27 billionth time. And oh my God, this makes me so happy for Batman. We might not see the fucking Waynes get shot again. Oh my God. How crazy would that be that the Waynes might not get shot in another fucking movie? Oh. Because if there's any fucking, origin that we know, like there's 3 origins that everyone knows inside and out and we don't need to see. We don't need Spider-Man being bit. We don't need to see Superman come from Krypton. And we don't need the Waynes fucking shot again. And 2 of these franchises have learned that lesson. So, looking at you, Batman. Looking at you. See, and I luck out, Jastin. I gave Thunderbolts an 85. So I can give this movie an 88. I don't have to do no circusing about it. I just get to go 88.
No fandangling.
Yeah. I get to just give it my score.
I'll Billy that laying.
I'll give this movie 88. Metamorphose squids out of 100. We're gonna look at a CineScore of an 88. So in the end, Jastin, the overall score we gave it was what you wanted to give it at the beginning anyway. So we still ended up there. We still ended up there. Which is 2 points higher than Thunderbolts. Because Heather hated the Thunderbolts. She only gave it an 84.
Yeah, that's why I said I retroactively would give it an 85. I would equal it with this one.
Spoilers?
Yep.
Spoilers.
I mean, where to even begin? I mean, this movie has so much in it. Like, it's one of those things, it's like, what is a spoiler and what's not a spoiler for this movie, really? There's so much shit. You could talk about one thing to death, and I don't think you're necessarily spoiling the movie because there's just so much other shit. I mean, there's so much other shit. I mean, I really loved the dynamics of Lois Lane and Clark in this. That scene where she's interviewing him, I thought was utterly fantastic. Because he's getting all kinds of upset. And she's like, I'm just asking you the questions that more or less you should have been asking yourself every time you interviewed Superman. Like, these are the things you should ask. And I loved the way he was reacting to it because he's such a good person that, like, just the idea that him helping people could be misconstrued as the political or this. He's just like, I'm just fucking helping people. Like, I'm just doing the right thing. Like, that's all I'm doing. She's like, well, who says it's the right thing? And it's like, because I'm saving people's lives. There's no politics. There's no ulterior motive. I'm just doing what everyone else should be doing. I'm just doing, to me, what is essentially the bare minimum of what it means to be a hero. And I love that because he's just so passionate and that's just such a part of him that he's getting upset that it could be construed as anything else. Because that's the furthest thing from his mind. And, there's there's a lot of controversy with this movie. Like when people are sitting there and talking about how they're making Superman woke. And I'm like, that is a weird way to brag about never reading Superman ever. Like never consuming a single piece of Superman media ever. Like that's just a weird way of saying it. Because there's nothing introduced in this movie that is not a part of Superman. Like when people are like, oh, they make such a big deal out of him being an illegal alien. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, you don't get a social security number when you're a fucking alien. You don't. And this is like, and I'm sorry too, because I don't necessarily love calling people illegal aliens, but fuck, he is an illegal alien. He is literally an alien from another planet who has a fake social security number and a fake identity given to him by the fake adoption he got. Like anybody that talks about how they make so much of a big deal about the illegal immigrant status of him. Motherfucker, just say you don't actually know who Superman is. Like just say you're calling us liars when we say everyone knows who Superman is. Because that's what you're saying. And it's real funny when Dean Cain gets out there, who played Superman on Superman, or was it Lois and Clark? And he says that they're going to lose money at the box office for going woke and making too much of a big deal about the illegal immigrant thing. When there's an episode of Lois and Clark with him as Superman where they directly do that. Because they ask for his fucking green card. Because he's a fucking alien. Like, come on. Like, that's been a core thing. Like, that's the thing about Superman. He was written by immigrants. He's an immigrant. That's a story. And it's been that way since 1933. Action Comics #1. And to sit there now in 2025, damn near 100 years later, and go, why are they bringing that up? For the same reasons why they brought it up in 1933. Because it's just his fucking story. And the reason why you have a problem with it now is because you're telling on yourself. Because maybe, just maybe, when you look at him say things like that, it holds a mirror up to you and things you've said and things you've thought and behaviors you've done. And you go, would Superman have a problem with me? Oh, no. Superman only has a problem with bad people. He's woke, not me. He's the problem now. The people that have a problem with any of the messages in this movie, when it pertains to things that are anti-Superman or pro-Superman and the things he believes in and all this other stuff, and you have a problem with any of it, there's a reason for that. You're on the wrong side. Because these are the things Superman has represented for 92 years. Sorry, not sorry.
The call's coming from inside the house?
Call's coming from your own fucking phone. You're texting yourself. Blows my mind. Superman as an immigrant story?
Dean Cain must have not showed up that day or something on set.
Was Dean Cain just saying, yeah, in the 90s I had an alcohol problem. I don't remember a fucking thing.
I blacked it all out.
I don't know. Just blows my mind. In general. When they're like, oh man, Superman doesn't even say truth, justice, and the American way. Yeah, he hadn't said that shit since like 1978, motherfuckers. Like, they got rid of that so long ago. Because also, anyone that looks at comic books and goes, keep the politics, or keep the wokeness, or keep the social justice out of my comic books, just admit you hate comic books.
Yep.
That has been the number one thing comics have done since ever. Comics have been a well-known media for commenting and exposing and just discussing and showcasing all kinds of things like that. It's what they've always done. I mean, X-Men were a book that was written as an allegory of people being different and being persecuted, which fits so many groups. Most particularly back then, especially, it was like racial inequality and stuff like that. But they did the same thing with Black Panther. They did the same thing with Luke Cage. They did the same thing with guy from DC, the Jon Stewart Green Lantern. It's been a common thing. Which is also crazy because comics have also been super racist. Look at, was it Egg Foo? I believe that's a Superwoman villain. Oh, look at old versions of the Mandarin too. Ooh, they get real rough back in the day. Look at Wonder Woman back in the day. They get real rough. But also, that's just something that they've also done. They've changed. They've grown. They're always doing that. So get the fuck over it. Like, I just don't understand. Like, when you're like, I can't believe Superman is doing Superman things. That bastard. It's such a weird thing. Because also you're, like I said, you're telling on yourself, but also, oh no, denying yourself a good movie. Like, it's also just a good movie. Like, this is also one of the most entertaining stories I've read of, like, or watched the Superman, like, of him being a fucking Boy Scout. He really does say shit like, golly gee. And, you know, and stuff like that. Like, he's a literal fucking Johnny Do-Gooder in this. But it's fun. It's inspiring. It's done right. And I loved that scene, though, with him arguing with Lois about that, because it really just kind of showed what he was passionate about. And then I also like that whenever they're like, oh, Superman, you need to, like, turn yourself in because of this. And he does. Not because he thinks it's morally right to turn yourself in those instances, because he knew that was wrong. But he had to go save his dog. And he knew they'd take him where the dog was. And so he's like, I'll go get my dog back. Really dug that. Like, it just kind of shows that this Superman just cares more about doing what is actually right than doing what people say should be right. And I think that that's a message that's lost too much and too often in things. That there is a difference. And when you are somebody that has the power to do what is actually right, doing what is right is actually a better definition of your character than just saying it. Because those the ones in power and with the power are the ones that can actually change things. And he realizes that. And also, in doing so, inspires the Justice Gang to do that. Because the Justice Gang is the flip side of that. They have the power to make a difference. And they were just doing what they thought, you know, what just seemed to be right. Like, oh, there's a monster. Go stop the monster. Oh, there's a war. We can't touch that. until Superman inspired otherwise. That's also a very good scene too, when they just go there. But I like the fact that it shows the difference between Justice Society and the difference between certain heroes and like also Superman. Because Hawkgirl murdered that man. She murdered the president of that country. She murdered him. And I'm fine with it, but I'm just saying it really kind of just shows the difference when they're just like, you know what? It's the same type of thing whenever that kaiju's attacking Metropolis. And he's like, we need to save it and study it and all these things. And they're like, no, we just need to kill it. And I like how they took the same thing to war. When she's like, oh, you want to stop let's kill the guy that's doing the war. That stops it real quick. It was real funny. It made me laugh. We haven't really talked much about Jimmy Olsen either, though. This was a very fun Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
Because this Jimmy Olsen fucks. All the ladies love this Jimmy. Which ties into a real fun version of Jimmy Olsen that is just so... like, he's going to get himself in a bunch of crazy situations. So they're talking about doing a Jimmy Olsen TV series. Or like mini series off of this. And I just can't wait to see it, because this is the type of Jimmy Olsen that, because he is wanted and like, you know, kind of a ladies' man and kind of like, you know, competent and stuff like that, where he actually can get himself into some really fucked situations. You know? And those are always really fun stories. Like when Jimmy Olsen turned into a gigantic turtle man. Real fun story. Or there's also a really fun story out there. I don't know how many people knows. This is Golden Age Batman and Superman, where to teach Robin and Jimmy Olsen a lesson, which no one knows what lesson they were being taught or why they were being taught a lesson. But Superman and Batman made Jimmy Olsen and Robin dig their own graves. Just to fuck with them. Comics are fucked, guys. But yeah, then afterwards it's like, you dug your own grave. You just silly goose. Like that type of thing. It's like, that's fucked. It's like your adoptive father and your best friend are sitting there like, dig your own grave, motherfucker. And you do it and then they go, gotcha. Weird shit. But yeah, Lois was fantastic. One reason why this film got some points taken off, you have Wendell Pierce, you use Wendell Pierce, okay? They did not use enough Wendell Pierce. You have Wendell Pierce as Perry White. And he's just in the movie a little bit. How do you cast a whole ass Wendell Pierce and not use him? This man has given one of the most interesting dialogue / like just monologues with solely using the word fuck. And you don't just give him a monologue with other words? Come on, this is Wendell fucking Pierce. He better be present more in Superman 2. That's all I'm saying. You have Wendell Pierce, you use that motherfucker. Don't commit the ultimate sin, which is underutilizing a Wendell Pierce. Now, I've given you a written warning, or a verbal warning here, James Gunn. This is a verbal warning. You don't want this going in your permanent file. You don't want a citation for misusing Wendell Pierce. Okay? Glad we got that settled. The final thing I want to talk about is the Kents. Mom, Pa Kent. I liked the fact that they were just kind of simple country people that didn't know everything. I'm kind of tired of the Kents knowing everything. When they're like, Clark's like, man, I don't know how to fight this monster. And they're like, well, have you done this? Have you exposed him to this? Have you done this? Like, I'm fucking tired of that shit. I'm tired of the Kents being just fucking experts on everything.
They don't even know how to use phones. It's great.
Yeah. They looked like and acted like my fucking parents.
They're just retired parents that want to see their kid.
Yeah.
Tell them to come around more.
Yeah.
But also just, saying shit that just makes sense. Like just actual parental guidance. Of like, 'cause Pa Kent knows nothing about fighting space aliens, knows nothing about the entire world being mad at you, knows nothing about feeling that, the pressure to do this and that and all these things. But he knows what it's meant to be a good person.
In all honesty, it might be the most realistic take on parents in a movie ever. Like, you felt like that was your friend's parents and you were just watching them have a conversation.
Yeah, or like parents for a certain generation. Because parents yelling at a phone on speakerphone, oh God, I've dealt with that a few times. Right? Like, I was like, it's good to be seen. But yeah, like, it's just something like that. But just knowing what it means to be a good person and explaining that to your son. You don't need to like explain the intricacies of geopolitical politics and all these other things. You just be like, look, this is kind of what it means to be a good person, though. And it sounds like you're a good person, and that's all I want. It's like, that's real nice. Because I feel like that's a better lesson, because I'm tired of the kids knowing all the answers all the time to that shit. How the fuck would they know that? Because like some of that is lived experience of being, I don't know, the most powerful person ever. If you don't have that lived experience, you're really not going to understand the pressures that would bring. And you don't have to teach your kid dumb lessons like, you can't save everybody even when you can. Let me walk into this tornado, son. Let me.
Oh, John can't. Snyder can't.
Because the thing is about that lesson, and the reason why it doesn't work, is because he could. You went and died in a way he can't save you. The other Paul Kent deaths, the way it's effective is when they die of a heart attack. And he can't save them. Because he's not also a Kryptonian doctor. You know what I mean? Like that's when you learn that lesson of you can't save everybody. When they die in a way you can't save, not when they're right in front of you. Like, especially when you're like, nah, bro, I can run real quick and save you. They won't even notice. Like, it'll be so fast. And he's just like, no. I have to go be in Twisters 1.5 real quick. God, it's a dumb way of learning that lesson. Because it's not the same lesson. It's not the same lesson. And notice how this podcast was just like, hey man, you sound like you're doing good, man. Like, I know it sounds like shit's tough, but like, you sound like you're being a good man. Cool. I was like, oh, that's a really nice podcast right there. He's not an idiot committing suicide with some tornadoes. Real refreshing to not get an idiot Pa Kent in a movie lately.
I love that actor too.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just real nice. And I just loved Ma Kent too. She was real funny. Just randomly coming in, just speaking loud for no reason, just like an old person. They'd be doing that. They'd just be speaking loud. Anyway, Heather, what you got?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the parents, the Kents, were excellent. Like they were just so lovable. Because again, you just feel like I'm just watching parents that I've seen or know, you know. But like it kind of to speak a little bit to what you talked on, Sterling, with that, like him just being like, you know, just be a good person. Something that I love that they did in this movie is the whole thing about the message that he received from his real parents and how, you know, he never really heard the full message before, and finding out like what he did actually say wasn't what he thought. And like what I love is essentially that line that his dad says of like, I think what you wanted it to mean says more about you than what it actually said, you know? And like, I loved that because that speaks so much more to the heart and the moral of what this movie is trying to say. It's like, it's about being a good person regardless, you know?
And it's just an incredibly accurate statement.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those lessons where it's just, it works because you don't have to think about it because it's just commonsensically true.
Yeah. You just need to hear it out loud and you're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. That's it. And I loved that because it really was kind of that moment for me where he said that and I was like, that's very good point. Pa Kent, very good point. Like just
walk off into some tornadoes.
See you later. But I mean, yeah, so I loved that moment. I think that was probably one of the best moments of the film when he's having that conversation with his dad.
I'm sorry. It's just stuck in my head now. I want to see a blooper of him saying that as he's walking off into a tornado.
For the one from this movie, you mean?
Just what you wanted it to say shows more of what you mean or what you are than what it actually says. All right, bye.
It would be funny if they did that as an outtake just to like make fun of the other one. That would be funny.
I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of Kevin Costner and Zack Snyder so much, but it's just so dumb. Like it really is the dumbest thing in that movie. The way he holds his hand up, just like, "No, you gotta let me do this, son. I gotta teach you the ultimate lesson." Like it's just really funny that's the ultimate lesson that pocket has to teach Superman. And that's why we get broody, moody, emo Superman. And this was just like he has to just give him a nice, wholesome, like Cracker Barrel lesson. It's why they're so different.
And he's just a well-adjusted Superman in person in general. Yeah.
His dad's just not walking off into tornadoes for no fucking reason.
It's only reasonable. Yes. Agreed. But yeah, like I just really loved that. And I love in general that they didn't actually change that because the whole thing about not hearing the whole message from his original parents, I did think that was going to turn out to be like a fake thing that Lex's team made up or whatever. And the fact that it wasn't, I think, really played well here too, because it is just one of those like, cool, like just because of who you thought your parents were, you thought like the mission you were supposed to be on your whole life, like why does it need to change because of something you didn't know? Like why because maybe your parents weren't exactly who you thought they were. Why do you need to change who you are? And I really like that they kept that in and that they didn't change it to be like, no, his parents there were saying all the good things, you know, like it just, I like that they kept that as like, he was obviously disappointed in that and discouraged by that because he built his entire life around this message from his parents. But just that one simple word from his real dad, I would say real dad, you know, and he was just like, it just made all the sense in the world. Be like, you're a good person. So you wanted that message to be different because you're a good person and you're hopeful. You had hope for better, you know, and that's the entire point of a superhero and of a Superman. So I just really appreciated that in this movie. I think that they really, really told that story well here. I do agree. I think the Jimmy Olsen stuff was fun. It was amusing, you know, him just like trying to evade this woman this entire time who's like obsessed with him. And it was a fun, like it wasn't needed in the movie, but it was fun that it was there. Because again, like if they are setting up something for his character in the later thing, I do like that they kind of built it here. And then I also really like, kind of like what we're saying, I like that Lois and Clark were a thing before the movie started. I like that we also don't have to have that origin of them meeting and her finding out and them, you know, having that. I like that they did that different here.
No,
Yes.
you're very right on that, Heather, because I don't know if I could live with another scene also of you're Superman.
Right.
Like, or I think he's Superman. Like,
Yeah.
We've seen it so many times, and it's so glad
Yeah.
that we have a director that goes, "You're not an idiot. You know where this is going." There you go.
Exactly. He's like, okay, we're already a couple months in. We're already really serious and we already kind of love each other. So we're moving past it. And yes, because again, everyone knows their story. We can start in the middle, kind of like what we did with this entire movie. We could start in the middle of it all, be dropped into the relationship instead of the buildup of it all. And it also obviously plays well for the story they tell in this movie too, that they already know each other and they have this established relationship like that. So that was a really good call, I think. And also randomly, I like the way that they did the kryptonite here. Like when he's trapped and then, that one guy has the kryptonite hand and he's making him sick. The way that it made him sick and like how it, like what it turned him into when he was weak and being poisoned by this kryptonite. I like how they portrayed that and visually showed you what it was doing to him in this movie. I think that really kind of makes you understand like this stuff really affects him. Like he's got like swollen eyes, like he can't get up or do anything. And I like how they showed that in this.
Oh yeah, it definitely became more of a weakness than it has in a lot of other media, where
Yep.
he just gets kind of weak and this and that. Like, it is debilitating.
Yep.
And I loved that. Because
Didn't he move a kryptonite like
he moved to Kryptonite
planet?
fucking island in Superman
the
Returns.
island. Yeah, in Superman Returns. Like, so yeah, just by comparative, like, yeah, it was way better depicted here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that entire way that they did that. And because again, we know, kryptonite is his weakness and, and all these things like, but to see it like that and show what it can actually do to him and why it's his weakness, they do that better here than a lot of other movies of Superman.
And one thing in contrast with that they really depict in this that I think is one of the best ways I've ever seen this done in live action or anything is his reliance on the yellow sun.
Yeah.
They really handled that very well to a degree of, like, I don't know how much you know about that, Heather, of him needing the yellow sun like that. And I think this movie does that in a way to where, yes, people that know Superman, yeah, we all knew that. But I think that brings in more casual people to some of the deeper lore.
Yep.
When it comes to that stuff of him just actually needing exposure to yellow sun to heal after the first battle. And then again after the kryptonite exposure, because he's in a pocket universe with no sunlight. Yeah, he shouldn't bounce back right away. And it could have been one of those things that maybe in a week he would have healed or whatever. But like, I like the fact that Metamorpho had to sit there and like do some chemistry and shit and be like, all right, I'm going to make essentially a sun. Which is
fake sun.
Yeah. And like that, I thought that was real smart though. The way that it really was able to explain that aspect of Superman's powers to more of the like type of more casual people that might not know intrinsically his relationship with needing the sun, with also not holding your hand, just doing it to show it to you. It's kind of it's a classic Jastin right there. Show, don't tell.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, and just in general too, like I like the character trait of this Superman where he, like what you alluded to earlier, Sterling, like he's doing the right thing because it's the right thing. He's just a very good person, but he's not this like, I guess, typical what you expect of like a bleeding heart kind of person. He's still a very kind of down to earth, common sense, logical person.
Well, and I think with that, he's not self-righteous.
That, yeah, that plays huge into it. And again, I think that's what's so great about his relationship and the conversation with his dad. Like, literally, you see just from the one conversation, like, he's grounded and has a good heart and continued to be that way because of how he was raised. But I think that even, like, for example, when he's talking to Lois about, like, I want to go get the dog. And he's like, he's not even a very good dog, but, you know, he doesn't have anybody else and he's alone and nobody should have that. So I'm going to go help him. Like, yes, of course he cared about the dog to some extent. And there's that like love-hate thing because he's like, oh, this dog's annoying and it's not even my dog. But it's that whole thing of like, but the right thing to do is to not let this dog be alone, right? Like, this dog also needs someone. Like, just kind of that very matter-of-fact, logical way that he is a good person, you know? It's not like, you know, oh my gosh, that's my dog and I love it so much, it's my best friend. It's just like, the dog's alone, he shouldn't be alone, I need to go get him, you know? Like, it's an interesting quality that they put on him that I really liked. I don't know, it just worked for this particular Superman for me to do it that way.
Well, but speaking more to that, when it came to that whole war situation, he didn't necessarily care about the political reasons of this and that and whatever. He was just like, people were just going to get slaughtered.
Yeah.
He's like, it shouldn't matter what it is. People shouldn't get slaughtered.
Yep.
Like, there might be genuine political reasons why a war was going to happen or whatever, but they need to figure out a way to do that without murdering a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like, that's all he cared about. Like, if there was something else behind it, this and that wasn't the thing that mattered. People just shouldn't be murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that was that simple to it. So that, and that's why, like I said, it's not self-righteous to just go, well, people shouldn't be murdered.
Yeah.
Like, to claim a side is right or wrong or whatever when it comes to political reasons, that's when you get into the self-righteousness of it all. And he didn't have that. It's just like, no, people just shouldn't be dying because other people want them to die.
And it's also why he wasn't like, he wasn't really afraid to have the interview with Lois for the sake of what he would say and to be like, oh, I need to finagle my words to say the right thing. Like, in general, he was just like, no, I'm just saying exactly what it is because this is exactly what it is and how I feel about it. And that's why that scene really is so good. There's so many layers to that scene where she's interviewing him that I really liked. And it also is one of the better scenes of the movie for me as well. But yeah, I don't know. There was just something about that quality of, you know, he's not a stereotypical, like, you know, superhero personality, I guess is really the best way I know how to say it. You know, he's just kind of like, I'm not trying to be that. I'm not trying to be this symbol that everybody's looking up to because I'm Superman. He's like, I'm just kind of doing the things I know that I can do to help because it's the right thing to do. And that's just really cool. And then, of course, you know, obviously he does that really great speech to Lex about like, I'm literally as human as you can get. I mess up all the time. You know, all these things. And that was a really awesome moment too, because even from the beginning of this movie, the thing you see about him first is that he's human, because we see him when he's getting beat and he gets beat a lot in this film, to be honest. And I think that was also a smart choice because the entire point of what he's trying to say is like, I may not be from here originally, but like, I am just as much a human being as you are in all of these ways. And this movie is very good at being like, he's a human first, and he's not Superman first. He's a human first who cares about other people. And yeah, like the fact that he wasn't always winning right off the bat is a really good way to show that to people. Like, yeah, he's your hero and he is Superman, but he is also not perfect either. And here's how you know that, because he gets beat and like he doesn't really get outwitted at the end of the day, but he almost does a lot of times. And yeah, I don't know. I just really like that. Even they don't even just tell you like, oh yeah, I'm a human, but they show you in some ways why that's true about him in this movie. So I just really thought that was a great element too.
Jastin, what you got?
Yeah, and that interview scene is one of the scenes that James Gunn talked about was a big risk because it's a 12-minute scene. Didn't feel like 12 minutes.
Nope.
I mean, it's engrossing from start to finish. And when I found out it was 12 minutes long, that was a surprise to me.
I was about to say that. You kind of just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a 12-minute scene.
Yeah.
And it's because James Gunn does a super good job of giving action or motion or movement just through dialogue and their emotions. Like him getting fired up about it. You know, that stuff. It's the dialogue equivalent of an action sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that blows my mind that was a 12-minute scene because it really is captivating.
I would have said 5 tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But 12, that's normally twice, sometimes 3 times the amount of time that most people think that you can have like just a constant dialogue between 2 characters like that. So,
especially
but
in
for
a
superhero movie,
yeah,
that's like almost unheard of to have a scene like that. So it just kind of, but I'm glad he kept it in because, like you both said, and I'm going to say the same thing, I think that is one of the best scenes of the movie because not only does it paint Lois as what she is, this journalist that's going to dig and wants to find the answer and questions everything and everything like that. So not only was that great for the characterization of Lois Lane to show like what she is and what makes her a good character, but also, like you guys said, it shows what makes Superman a great character and what about his character stands out from us or other people or politics or everything like that. Like you said, I'm not trying to represent America or the country or anything like that. I'm just representing myself and what I thought was the right thing to do. And I just don't want to see people die. Like, people were going to die, Lois. Like, that's why I did what I did. But her grilling him and questioning him in those ways is a very good reflection of how we treat things and how we have become so beholden of politics and what's the right thing to do, the left versus the right, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes we get so caught up in that, we often forget what is just the right thing to do.
Well,
What is just the humane thing to do? And especially like with how cynical the world is today. I really think this was just a good, like, Superman is the right person to, especially if Superman were living today in 2025. He is the kind of person that kind of makes you, that would make you look at yourself and go, well, damn, like, or at least look at today's society and go, it just kind of reminds you of just how far we are from that. Well, sometimes, and with how we look at things.
You're very right with that because it really is. Just saying you don't want people to die is inherently a political statement these days.
Yes.
Like, that is politicized. Like, that is political language to say that. And like, that's where it kind of gets a little crazy with stuff is like, and you kind of see that with the way Lois is grilling him about that stuff, because that, to a lot of people, that is a political message. that is a representative message. Just to say, but people were going to die. I didn't want people to die. I stopped people from dying. Like, that is inherently political now. When to him, and it's just the most apolitical thing you could do. It's just not that people don't die. That's it. And it really kind of shows that lens of what you were talking about, like of Superman being that character to be able to shine that spotlight on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy how we get so caught up in all of that stuff that sometimes we forget that, you know? We just as people forget that sometimes. You don't have to be a supervillain. And this kind of shows that you don't necessarily have to be a supervillain or to be like to sometimes, maybe there's a better way to say this. Superman is that kind of hero that reminds you that there's always a better that you can be. There's always a better that we could be, you know? And that's why this Superman feels more like the Superman, because that's what he's always kind of been compared to the other superheroes and stuff like that, the ultimate Boy Scout and stuff like that. Well, what is that? And I think that Gunn really like puts it in a way that is not only understandable, but then you understand the significance of him today and how we as a people have sometimes lost sight of that. And, you know, I think that was a big message in the movie too, that there's a better that we can all be. And that's what Superman represents. But at the same time, that's not to say that he is a perfect person, but it's the very human thing of just trying to be the best person you can be. He is somebody who really tries to be the best person, you know, and sometimes it just feels like, not saying that we are not trying to be, but sometimes it feels like the definition of what that is can be confusing in today's times with how we look at everything. So it's a very powerful scene. It's a very powerful message. And I'm glad that James Gunn had something like that in here. And another thing that I really liked was just how he started this movie. Because essentially what you saw in the trailers and the teasers, it was all at the beginning of the movie. So there never really had to be that moment where it's like, well, I've seen all of this already in the trailers. I think it was very strategic that most of what you saw in the trailers was at the beginning of the film. So even though you already knew we already saw that scene with Crypto and him being down and bloody and everything like that. I thought it was so crazy how that was the beginning of the film. Like, I just thought for sure that this was somewhere later. Like when we were watching it in the trailers, that was somewhere later where he had already been fighting somebody and got hurt or whatever. And then it dawns on me now too that not only had he lost the fight, but we were in the middle of him retreating. He was trying to get to the Fortress of Solitude. So he wasn't really knocked there or anything. He was retreating there, like desperately trying to get to where he knew he could be healed. And you know, not all of this had to be said. This was just kind of something you realize, just thinking about just how Gunn told the story. So that was an interesting place to start. There's never been a Superman movie that started with him being beat up or him being in a desperate state or whatever. So I think that was just another great decision to kind of hook you on this movie. And it's not a very traditional way to start a superhero movie either, because normally we start a superhero movie just seeing the superhero be a superhero or be heroic or successfully do something or successfully save someone or look, he solved the problem but he did it recklessly and that's going to drive. So this is a journey about how not to be reckless or whatever the movie is doing, you know. But I thought that was interesting how he started this a completely different way from what we're used to seeing. And he did it with some scenes you've already seen. You know, he chose to put that there. So he got that sort of out of the way. So the rest of the movie can be kind of fun and a little more surprising and a little more engaging, you know.
Well, once again, with the trailers of this, the trailers only kind of show most of like stuff from the first half of the movie.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, they're not running around showing the end. They're not showing this and that. They're not trying to be like, yeah, he fights Wonder or Ultraman at the end. Oh, you got to sit in for that.
Yeah.
You have no idea. Most of that shit is the beginning of the movie. The only thing I think they show from the end of the movie is like the Justice gang at the border. It shows some clips of that, you know. But outside of that, it's real great that they just don't spoil the whole movie. Because there's just enough in the beginning to show you, hey, this is going to be a Superman movie, guys.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what you need.
Yeah. So all that was just like really smart decision making. And again, like we said, you can just tell that all of this was thought about. Like, it just feels like there was planning. It just feels like we're not making a movie to get to the next one. Like how Marvel feels like, can feel like sometimes, depending on who's directing it or who's telling the story. But this just, you can feel and you can tell that there was just a little more thought put into what we were doing with this, even though we had a lot of shit in this. Just back to Superman and his character. When was he not saving someone or something or looking out for who was in the background or who was around or not caring about the lives of everything around him? It wasn't just a scene. It wasn't just a conversation. He carried himself like that constantly. If there was a squirrel in trouble, he was saving the squirrel. If a kaiju monster thing burned a building, he was checking the building to see if anybody was hurt and asking if anybody was hurt. When he saves someone, he's not only putting them in a safe place, but he's talking to them and saying, hey, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Like, he really was just like exactly what you think Superman would be or should be in every way, shape, or form. Or like you talked about, even when the monster was killed, he was like, man, I was really hoping we could get it to an intergalactic zoo or take it somewhere we could like, when the robots were destroyed, he felt for them. Like, he really carried himself like that throughout the entire movie. Even when he was hurt and struggling, even when he was kryptonite poisoned and barely able to move himself, he was like, oh, there's all those other people in the pocket, you know, universe prison. We got to go back in there. We got to save them. We got to still worried about other people, even when his life was in jeopardy. And I think that that's like, sometimes what's missed is just the superheroing, you know? And he every bit was that in this movie. Like, James Gunn never forgot about that aspect of him. He really wanted to show just how much he cares about just life itself, not just human beings, not just which political side, not just the people who were captured and needed saving. he seemed to care about everyone and everything.
He's the
And I thought
epitome
that
of
was just so
practicing what he
cool.
preaches, in a sense. Yeah.
Yes. Every bit of what he preached, he was practicing. Every bit. You just saw it in everything that he was doing in this movie. He just never really forgot about anyone. And even in that confrontation with Lex, when he's talking about my flaws and me just trying to be the best person I could be, that human part, that's really where my power is. It's just that I'm trying to be a good human being. And then he looked at Lex and said, and I hope one day you realize that that's the great thing about you too. He's still trying to talk down Lex. He's still trying to show Lex, man, there's good in you too. Like, it wasn't just about stopping Lex or beating his ass or, man, if I break his neck, he'll never do this again. Like, even still, he's trying to tell Lex there's goodness in you too. Like, why don't you see that? Why don't you? So I really love that about this Superman. Like, to me, when he's doing those things and saying those things, all I could think in my head is that this is Superman. This is what we've been missing. That is Superman. That's what makes him unique. That's what makes him the best among us, or the best among the superheroes. It's that thought. It's that attitude. It's that way that he carries himself. That is why he is who he is, you know? But I think sometimes people who have directed or like depict Superman, they think too much about the super and not enough about the man. And I think that that's why this worked so incredibly well, because James Gunn just focused more on that. And I think most of the time he won because of his focus on that aspect of it.
Well, because honestly, when it comes to writing Superman, if you write the man, the super kind of takes care of itself. I mean,
Yes.
the super part's easy. Have him fight some big shit. Have him be strong. Have him use some laser vision and some heat and some ice breath. You know, you could throw that in anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The man part is where, like you said, Justin, everyone kind of just doesn't do it. Weirdly, like they just choose not to do it. When, like I said, that's what makes, if you're going to make a movie that's compelling, that's where that lies. Because, you know, him being the all-American Boy Scout, this and that, those are the aspects of Superman where it really is like the caricature of his personality as Superman. You're missing the part of he's like that because of who he is as a person, though. So if you delve into that side of it, that's where you can make the boring do-gooder side of him compelling.
Yeah.
Because you get into who he is as a person, not just who he is as a hero. When you would think that those would be intrinsically tied to each other, but I don't know. People try to do it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it's just because on some level they don't get that, or they don't understand that part of it, or they don't understand why that part is important, or as important as it should be. But James Gunn he understood that.
Well, and it's like when Zack Snyder talks about why Superman murders Zod at the end of Man of Steel. And he's like, well, this was him just beginning to be Superman. So he hasn't quite worked out the kinks. But that also shows the flaws he has as a man in those movies. And, you know, I can't help but think that's because Paul Kent walked the fuck off into a tornado. Maybe if he had stuck around a little longer, he would have learned better lessons, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why in this movie, you can avoid him, even though being Superman for 3 years, just murdering people because he just doesn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Because he's just so new. He's just like, I don't know what to murder. Like,
Yeah. Like, yeah, the figuring out part is about how is shouldn't be, should I kill this person or not? Or, oh, I got to kill this person. That shouldn't be the part that Superman is trying to figure out.
and I know some people were talking about like, yeah, but he kills Ultraman in this. No, he doesn't. He does not murder Ultraman. Ultraman just more or less gets taken out through a series of events in the fight. But he does not murder Ultraman. And also because it's comic book shit and he went into a black hole, Ultraman can come back real easy.
Yeah.
You put somebody gets lost in a black hole in a comic book, write him in next movie. Like pencil him in, he's in the next movie. Like,
Yeah.
that's comic book shit right there.
Yep. And you could go a lot of different directions with that. He could become Bizarro.
That's what
It
I
could
think.
be- it could-
Yeah.
I mean, that's totally on the table with stuff like that.
Whenever they more or less described him as stupid Superman, I'm like, oh, he is Bizarro in 2 or 3 movies.
Yep. And just one more thing about the whole super and man thing. But when it was time to do the super stuff, James Gunn was pretty good at that too. There was a lot of cool shit in this that he did with Superman, utilizing his powers or using his super breath to avoid the black hole and get everybody out, or like using or like when there would just be these picturesque shots of Superman just floating there. I loved when he saved the woman from the fallen building when the rift was going. And as she's driving away, he comes out of the debris or whatever, and he's just floating there. And that was just such a great, like, comic book-esque shot of Superman. Like, there were just a lot of really good moments of him being Superman also.
Oh, yeah. All of that without having to just fight Kryptonians. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, you know, even Gunn was just nailing it on some of that stuff. He even found a way for him to use the super span, which is just a stupid power that he has. But I mean, it was cool in this. I was like, he found a way to use that damn super span. I was like, damn you, James Gunn. How did you have him do the super span and it worked?
Well,
like how?
But also when it comes to like Crypto always reminds me of like 1960s Superman and cheesy.
Yep.
Crypto ain't cheesy in this movie.
He's not.
Like Crypto's a fucking beast in this movie. Like that's real funny whenever he's just like, yeah, Lex, I'm a person. And he's just a dog. Dog, yeah. Just beat the fuck out of him. That was hilarious as shit.
Yeah.
Like, I get what you're saying, like that's that Hulk Loki scene. But I'm not gonna lie, to me, this was a little funnier. Because this was done. Like the fight was done.
Yeah.
And he just goes and beats the fuck out of him like that. That was real funny. Like, and he's just a person. Like, Crypto easily could have killed that man. He's just a man.
Yes. Yeah. Crypto was murking a man. And like really just about every scene with Crypto was a fun scene. You know, that scene at the beginning was really only cracking the surface of how significant Crypto was going to be in the film, because he does play a pivotal role. Like in this film, he comes in handy at certain times. I liked even that part where he's just sitting in Lois's lap and won't move so that she can try to control this ship. Isn't that such a pet
I was about to say,
thing?
that is the most pet thing I've ever seen in a movie. Just that pet inconveniently sitting on you. But you're also just like, well, you don't have to go, but you're like, you're in my way. But like, don't leave. But but you're in the way.
Yeah, like, why would you just sit here right now and not want to boom? But that's what I love about it. Like you can tell that James Gunn is definitely drawing from real experiences because just the stuff he would have him do, like, it was just perfect.
Well,
It was just
like so much so that scene could have not been in the script, but that just happened to him earlier that morning.
yeah.
And he's like, we got to put that in.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Even the way that he builds, like, who's the dog in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Oh, Cosmo.
Cosmo. The way that he does Cosmo as well is, I mean, it's not the same, but it kind of is. Like, you feel like if a dog could talk,
Oh, yeah.
these are the thoughts it have. Like, are you calling me a bad dog? No. I am not going to let that slide. Like, it very much feels like he just understands dogs.
Oh, like, because they're sitting there like, you're a bad dog. And everybody's like, oh, and Cosmo's like, what the fuck?
Which is probably what the dog would think, you know?
But like, yeah, it's just one of those things where like, it's all like greatly thought out with Crypto. And then like, but he's like, Crypto, get the toy or get the ball to get all those drones and shit. And Crypto goes, I've been training my whole life for this. And just taking them out.
It's like, got him.
Yeah.
But even so, like, whenever because I like it because you get that scene also when he's fucking with Mr. Terrific. And Mr. Terrific, those are expensive. And he's just taking them out. But like, it's those little things like that. Like, that's the thing is like, these are things that have been around in Superman comics forever. And he has this weird way of making them fresh and fun now. Like I said, there is nothing about Crypto that hasn't been a cheesy cartoon for kid type of bullshit. And now Crypto is an adult movie dog that kids can love too.
Yep.
And it was also so fantastic when Supergirl comes and you find out Crypto's her dog. And they just fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was great.
He's just knocking her around and she is just having the time of her life laughing and everything like that. And I mean, the ground was just being destroyed with her body. And then they're just laughing it up. And then it was great, the conversation that Soups was having with Gary or number 4.
Yeah. When Gary's like, and ultimately he doesn't care because he knows we don't care if he lives or dies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, all of that shit was tight. So yeah,
Crypto. That does remind me though, real quick. You were talking earlier in non-spoilers about a joke that you felt was ill-timed. And I don't know if you've said what joke that was.
Oh yeah, or just like a scene where I thought he could have let it breathe a little more was the Jonathan Kent talk with Clark scene. Like, they have that moment. He says that to him, and he's like, I'm so proud of you. They hug, and I was really feeling it, and then Martha comes in. Oh, you mush. Come here and look at the TV. I don't know. I wouldn't have had her come in so quick. Like,
give it another beat.
During the hug. Let the hug happen and let them just
in the hug and
be like there. A little joke to each other or something, and then she can come in or something.
Yeah.
Like, yes, let them stay in the moment without that. I get that. That's fair.
Yeah. It almost felt like it was missing the record scratch? Like it almost felt like the music was gonna do that,
One joke I really did love though, since we were talking about jokes, was at the end of the movie when they're like, oh yeah, Metamorpho, you can join the Justice Gang, and Guy Gardner's like, whoa, we need to be highly selective of all this other stuff. He's like, the Justice Gang, that's the coolest name ever. He's like, you're in.
Yep.
Solid joke. Loved that.
Yes.
That was good.
He got his vote. the scene where Mr. Terrific murks all those people with his terrific orbs or whatever they're called.
Oh yeah.
His circles that are not circles that he
And Lois is just
reprimanded
kind of like,
Lois Lane
what's
on.
going on right now?
Yeah, that was great. And Gunn is good at that too. Like he can do a scene like that. Like it reminded me a little bit of the Yondu scene with the
Oh yeah. That is totally
with
the
the
Yondu scene
arrows?
again.
Yeah, but
It's a little
man,
different.
he does that scene so cool.
But
Like
it's the Yondo scene again, but it's changed just enough to fit Mr. Terrific. And so that's the difference between that scene and say the ice skating scene in Argyle,
yes,
where
Yeah.
that's a Matthew Vaughn fight sequence that we've seen in 3 other, what is it? Kingsman movies. We've seen that over and over again because it feels the same every time. It doesn't feel like he changes it to fit these characters. Whereas James Gunn is doing the Yondo dart scene again, but makes it feel different because of Mr. Terrific and Lois being in the
Yeah.
middle of it with that force field and stuff like that. He changes it just enough to fit Mr. Terrific doing a similar type of thing. And that's why this feels
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. And Terrific was the right choice because, like, I think a lot of people know the Lanterns and kind of know, or you are probably familiar, at least. You may not know all who the Lanterns are, but you're probably familiar with Green Lantern. You're probably familiar with the Hawk Girl or Hawk Man or something like that. I think of those three, Terrific might be the one that most people might be least familiar with.
And that's
You know?
why you showcase him more like he did in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. So I think that was a good choice. And that actor did a terrific job. I mean, no pun intended. Just every scene, wasn't he just chewing it up? Wasn't he just eating? Like he ate every scene with his swagger and just the way he carried himself, or like, I'm doing this to piss off the Green Lantern, and then that smirk across his face, like he was great, man.
But
Or
also, when Lois is sitting there trying to describe the relationship problems, he's like, I don't care.
yeah,
And then she just keeps going and he's just like, and then or that scene when he's like, yeah, you can use my jet. The controls are very intuitive. And she gets in there and it's all all over the place and shit. Because to him, comics related, he's one of the smartest people in the world. It really is like Lex, Batman, and him, smartest people. It's like to him, oh yeah, it's intuitive as fuck.
Wasn't there
To
also a
him.
scene when he got to Luthor Corps where somebody was asking him about what he knows and he was like, I'm good or something like that?
Well, because that one guy's like, I can help you. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
He's like, I just need the computer. Like, I'm good.
yeah. I'm goddamn Mr. Terrific. However he said that. Man, that was great. That was just, all of his scenes were great. And the last person I'll talk about is just Lex Luthor and all the decisions they made with him that I just really, really liked. This idea of Lex having this team or whatever, this team of people and who are helping him
How did
control.
he find all the shittiest people in the world that just want the destruction of the world?
Yes.
He found all of
Right.
them.
Like him with this team of people. And I loved how he had broke down Superman's movements and fighting.
He watched Superman tape like he's a fucking quarterback, dude.
Yeah. And basically he was a play caller, or he was like a that's what he was, or like a coach or a captain, or or it almost reminded me of Call of Duty in a video game or something. Like he's the lead, a squad leader, giving the directions and stuff. But I thought that was so cool how he was like 12B and like that would be a grapple move, or he would go 27C and that was the have Ultraman use the laser vision, or it was like, and like because he had studied Superman so much, yes, he had cloned Superman and it was Ultraman and all of these people. Yes, it took all of them to punch him, but it was almost like Lex was the one beating him. Like Lex knew every move. He knew how to counter him. He knew how to, and until Superman really like broke his ability to be able to communicate with Ultraman, they made it a point to say Superman could not have won this fight. Like, without doing that, like, that's why he lost. It's dawning on you that's why he lost, because Lex Luthor was so smart and had all these resources and did all this planning and did all this preparation down to where he could predict almost what Superman was going to do.
And that's what makes him so scary in this, is because if Lex can match Superman's strength, he can beat him. And he needed the Ultraman clone. He needed to channel his brain through Ultraman. And doing it, he wipes the floor with Superman every time he does that. And it's not even close. He beats Superman every time he can use his brain with Ultraman doing the work.
Yeah.
He beats him every time. He went technically like 3 for 3 in this movie doing that, you know. And to me, that's what makes him so scary, is that's his limitation. So if we ever get, you know, Kryptonian mech suit Lex, he can fight Superman.
Yeah. I was just about to say that, like, if you're a comic book geek, you know that this is the precursor to his suit. Like, that's got to be the next idea for him. The only reason why I didn't beat him is because it wasn't me there being able to fight him. I just couldn't physically be there. That was the only thing that was missing. So you could almost see this is the precursor to him making that suit. Because if you lost all this and walked away from it, that has to be the conclusion that he would draw. If I was physically there, I would have beaten Superman. If I could have somehow been in that suit and not a clone, and something that could withstand blows from Superman and everything like that, I would have beat him, because I know how to fight. I know all of his moves. I know how to fight him. So I just thought that was great. They really understood how to make Lex always seem like the smartest person in the room or in the scene, or when he would talk about, like the whole thing with the pocket universe and the fact that he had figured that out and created it. Like, just by accident, he was like, but I found that I could access this. So now I've got all these portals set up where I can just go here and there and everywhere. And I love how it showed the genius of him, but also the downright pettiness of him and why he's just such a horrible human being. The fact that he had a fucking blogger that blogged about him, an ex-girlfriend that blogged about him, was in the pocket prison, like the pocket universe prison. But then there were officials and freedom fighters, or people who were just like, political people who were important that he needed in the prison so he could manipulate and control. But the fact that you have people like that to metahumans that he could use and manipulate and control, like Metamorpho, but then there was just a blogger ex-girlfriend in there too, just kind of shows how horrible he is.
Well, on top of that too, he's so petty. He's got a bunch of genetically engineered monkeys to write shit posts about Superman.
Yes. Yes.
He didn't even make just an AI program, not even just a software to do that. No. Genetically engineered monkeys to do it, because that just seems
Yeah.
more insulting.
Yes. Yes. All to get. And so then you realize all of Superman's problem, really almost all of his problems in this world were created somehow by Lex. Like, whether he was manipulating the public or whether he was even that whole thing to where he was going to get half of this island from Baravia or whatever out of this war deal that was happening. He even said that really all of that was just a bonus. That was never the intent of what I was trying to do. All of this was so that I could create a political excuse to get permission to kill you.
Do you think that was just a nod to the other Superman movies to still have it partially be a land deal?
It had to be, it had to be.
Just to be partially a real estate transaction.
Yes. Because what is a Lex Luthor in a movie without some sort of land deal?
Yeah. But like, and that's what's fantastic too. Plus, whenever he's beating Superman, he's incredibly cocky about it. Like,
Yep.
whenever, Superman rushes in and is like, "Where's the dog?" And he's just like, "Let me move the tea out of the way before you flip the table."
Mhm.
But then when Superman comes in all calm as shit, he's the one freaking out because he's losing. He's lost. So he's the one going apeshit.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of that was great. And that dialogue when Superman was like fighting his clone or whatever, and he's like, "Man, you're envious of me, Lex." And Lex just dug in, was like, "Yeah, I'm envious of you. Like, a person like you," and he in so many words basically said that how strong you are and how you carry yourself and everything like that is a reminder to us of how weak we are. And I resent you for that. I resent the person that you are, because it shows us how weak we are. And I just want to be the person to refute that. I just hate all your goodness and all of the right and all of the good that you're trying to do. Fuck that. I just don't want, because I hate what your goodness does to me. I hate that the N-word and what that does and what that makes me realize about myself. And I thought that was so badass. Like, it wasn't this philosophical thing or a God amongst men or any of that kind of overly deep shit. I just like how he was just like, "Man, I just hate the good of you. I just hate the good that you are because of what that does to me." So I thought that was great. And when he went on that monologue and just was going, what a, and like, and Ultraman was just punching Superman. All of that was just so great, man. Like, he was just such a great Lex Luthor. Like, you could just tell he was having fun. You could tell that, like, he really understood what James Gunn was trying to create. And like, at the end of that, like, I love also seeing the contrast between when Superman got exposed and how everybody looked at him and what that did to Superman, and how Superman of course it hurt him, but how he was able to still kind of get himself together and say, "Okay, now what can I do about this situation?" But I love the contrast of what it did to Lex and how he absolutely broke down and cried when he was exposed, and just the difference in how they reacted was great, because it just perfectly showed the difference between those characters and how they both reacted to the same situation. So, like, there was a lot of great storytelling that Gunn was doing, like with these characters and just how they were reacting to similar situations. I just thought all of that was just great shit. Just great shit.
One final thing I want to touch on real quick. Very end of the movie. When right after the battle and like Superman's like, "Hey, Lois, I'll give you an interview." And Perry White and Jimmy Olsen are outside talking, and Perry White goes, "So how long have they been a thing?" And Jimmy Olsen's like, "Oh, about 3 months." Does that mean Perry White and Jimmy Olsen know who Superman is? Or do they just think Lois is dating Superman?
That's a good question.
I think they know that Clark is Superman.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that. It could also just be like they've seen her acting different, so she's been dating somebody for a while, and then when seeing them together, they're like, "Oh, that's probably who it is." But I think I lean towards how you do, where it feels like that's them kind of nodding to like they know. But I don't know. It is a good question though.
Yeah. Like, I wonder if it's kind of one of those things we can't prove it, but we kind of like have our suspicion because it kind of is a callback to when Clark was all like, when they were in just before the Lois interview, when he was like, "Oh man, we had them really going, didn't we? You know, all the back and forth and us, digging at each other and all of that kind of stuff." And I wonder if it was almost like you're saying, Sterling, their way of saying they think they're fooling them, but they really aren't. Or is it? Go ahead.
Because I agree with what Heather was saying, that it's like, oh, they know she's dating somebody. I think they know that, like, more or less they figured out they're trying a little too hard to act like Clark, like Clark and Lois are trying too hard to act like they're not dating. But, and more or less kind of then from there figured out that Clark was Superman type of scenario.
Yeah, you could be right. But it's also, to what extent do these hypno glasses work?
So
Like,
if it is hypno glasses, I think it doesn't work if they know.
okay.
So because you can't be hypnotized to not know something type of thing. As in, the second you know Clark and Superman are the same person, they don't work on you. I think that's how they work. That was what they were doing in the 70s. So I don't really, really remember. But I think that if I'm remembering correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. The hypno glasses don't work if you know.
Okay. And then the reason why I asked is because if Clark looks like a completely different person than Superman, maybe they don't know Clark is Superman. But like Heather is saying, but they could still suspect that she's dating Superman without knowing that Superman is Clark, especially if these glasses make him look different. So they could be onto the fact of, oh, Lois is dating Superman, but not know that Superman is Clark.
Well, but also with hypnosis, some people are more susceptible than others. So it could be also the argument that maybe just Perry White and Jimmy Olsen just aren't affected by it. You know what I mean?
That's true too.
But
yeah.
I just kind of like the idea that they actually know he's Superman. They have all of it figured out. Because it's like they're that good at their job that they have it all figured out, but even they know exposing Clark as Superman would be detrimental. And they know he does a lot of good. So they're just like, leave it be.
Yeah. I like that version of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also real quick, the final thing, what I talked about earlier. I loved how his whole thing throughout the movie was like, oh, I like watching the video of my parents. It soothes me. It's the first half of the Kryptonian message. And then at the end of the movie, they do the same thing. And it's Paul and Martha Kent. It's like home movies from whenever he was a kid. And that song is playing that I was talking about. So you have like him with all the pictures of like, or the videos of him as a family with the Kents. And he's smiling and happy. And that song's going. I just thought that was a super cool fucking ending.
Yeah.
I just really dug that.
Yeah, I love that.
That was the final thing going into the credits. And it's the whole like, I'm a punk rocker. Because to him, he's like, maybe I'm the new punk rock, guys. I'm Superman. Like maybe being Superman's the new punk rock. And Lois is like, yeah, whatever. But then it kind of is at the end of the movie. Because he won.
Yeah.
So I just like the juxtaposition of the Kent stuff and that song and him just like like laying back and chilling, like doing the same routine he was doing. But he's like doing it as in, I'm a person of Earth now. Like this is who I am. I'm not this Kryptonian warlord. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm Superman. I'm Clark Kent.
That's good.
And these are my memories. This is my happy place. And he's playing his cheesy punk rock music that Lois is like, slow it with calling that punk rock. Like, so I really dug that.
Also, what was the name of that like random band that he was talking about loving?
Oh, Monkey something or whatever.
Something crab legs or something.
Monkey crab or something. I don't know. Crab monkey?
The Mighty Crab Joys.
Oh, the Mighty Crab Joys.
Crab Joys.
I don't know where I got monkey from then. I'm just pulled out of my ass. But yes, which they do a song at the very end, like at the end of the credits too. Just also a word of advice. So James Gunn has officially said that like a lot of the movies probably will get mid-credit and end-credit stingers, but don't expect them to matter. Because he doesn't like pigeonholing things, because he got fucked over at Marvel a few times with those. Because like the whole Adam Warlock thing, he's like, well, I guess I have to have Adam Warlock in my next movie. And he made it work, but he had to have Adam Warlock. But it's the same with the whole Thor thing. He's like, well, I guess Thor's a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I hope we get rid of him because I don't want to write Thor. He's like, I'm fine with Thor. He's like, I like watching Thor. I don't know how to write Thor. That's not what I want to do. So he wanted Thor removed, So like he needed stuff like that. So he's like, he doesn't want to do anything like that. That's why. So the Millie Adcock or Supergirl, her showing up, it's just a little tag thing. But the next movie's Supergirl. But also, this doesn't really affect Supergirl outside of we know Crypto is her dog and she gets drunk with a red sun. So that's really about it. It doesn't pigeonhole anything else in the movie. And he doesn't want in-credit scenes to do the same thing. He wants the next movie or whatever movie might be coming up later or whatever to be able to be its own thing. So just have it have scenes, but they might not be pivotal.
I like that.
This is the next big thing scene.
Yeah.
Unless it's something for sure that's going to happen. And he also he likes the idea of if it matters as part of the story of anything, it should be in the movie.
Yeah. And he's very big on script first rather than like some ideas first or something like that, because that was something that people have been talking about too, because sometimes these projects, Marvel would be lost or you'd have to go through all these reshoots or all these like story changes because, like you said, the script wouldn't be complete because of all these other things that needed to be added, or we need to wait to see if this scene can fit with this scene, or we need to have these scenes for the next one, or et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of times projects would get delayed or have to be changed completely because they'd be like, well, we need this scene because of this movie here a few years later and stuff. And like James Gunn went through some of that.
Yeah.
So he's very big on script first, story first. Let's figure out what we're doing with the script first before we start worrying about all these other things and how, like, I think a good example is they're going to make this Clayface movie just because he read the script and thought it was good and he greenlit it because they had a script.
Well, yeah, Mike Flanagan
and he
comes
thought
to
it was
him.
good.
Mike Flanagan comes to him with the script. And so it's one of those things. It might not be a fully finished script or whatever. Like maybe he needs to do a rewrite. Maybe you need to tweak some things. But like, fuck, you have a script though. Whereas,
Yeah.
I hate to bring this up again, but Blade. They announced the character. They weren't ready for it, obviously.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're getting a Supergirl movie and a Clayface movie before we're getting a Batman movie, before we're getting a Wonder Woman movie, before we're getting Justice League or any of these other characters. Why? Because people came to him with scripts and they went, hey, script. And he went, hey, cool, movie. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Like, do I think I need a Clayface movie? No. But if he's like reading it and he's like, hey, I've got a Clayface movie script. I don't have a Batman script I like yet. We're doing a Clayface movie then. You know what? People have created movie universes based on worse shit than that. Having good scripts ready. Like,
yeah.
Do you guys remember the Dark Universe when they did that Tom Cruise the Mummy movie? And then they were like Jennifer or Angelina Jolie is going to be Bride of Frankenstein, and Johnny Depp's going to be the Invisible Man. Remember how none of those movies happened? They announced a whole ass universe of shit, and one movie came out, and they just did not do a damn thing. It's almost like if they had scripts, maybe they would have made movies.
Yeah.
And they would have justified a casting and then like all these things. Because everybody's like, well, when are you going to cast Batman? And it's like, when I have a script. I'm not going to cast a movie I don't have a fucking script for yet. I don't want to Mahershala Ali somebody.
Exactly.
So, no, I mean, I'm excited for Supergirl. If this is the trajectory we have, I'm excited.
Yeah. And if they're
Same.
doing what I think they're doing, I'll just say this, there's a really good Supergirl story called Woman of Tomorrow. And I really hope it's that. I mean, I'm sure it is
From
because
what I've heard,
her
yes.
drinking and stuff was
Yes.
a part of that. So
And Lobo showing up and stuff. Like,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I figured that's
Lobo,
what it was.
like
'cause that's a
Jason
good story.
Momoa as Lobo is in
Okay.
Supergirl.
Okay.
And so from what I've heard, it really is at least kind of like how this was All-Star Superman. Like at least very loosely based on that, but like pulling stuff from that or getting that feel. From what I've heard, Supergirl is off of that too.
Yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. You guys got anything else?
Not me.
Nope.
All right. On that note, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the CineScores podcast. Check us out on the internet at www.cinemaslayers.com or CineSlayers podcast on Facebook. We're at CineSlayers, we are Cinema_Slayers on Threads, Instagram, and Letterboxd. We're at CineSlayers Pod on TikTok and YouTube. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your friends' family, tell your family's friends, and most of all, tell those dear sweet mothers, because dear sweet mothers love
Wendell Pierce.
or crypto.
Crypto was my next choice, but Wendell Pierce eats some
Everybody
love.
loves Wendell Pierce. I was talking to some people after the movie, and they were like, yeah, the guy from Suits. And I've seen Suits and everything like that. And Wendell Pierce is in Suits. But that's not my first association of Wendell Pierce. I had no clue who they were talking about. If they had just said the guy from The Wire, which is where he properly should have been credited from, okay, it would have made way more sense. Because he's, as much as I love Suits and I love him in Suits, he's infinitely more Monk from The Wire than he is the dad from Suits. So just keep that in mind if you're going to reference him and not know his name. Say the guy from The Wire. Shout out to Plug Mundo Show for our theme song and logos, respectively. Give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd really appreciate it. Really help us out. We hear the CineScores podcast are Pro Slut, Pro Sydney, Pro Naked, and Pro Steak Fingers. You. Yes, you cinefans, you are Knuff. Justice for Todd. Justice for the stunt people, and justice for the animators and wonderful catering people that make all our movie-going dreams possible. And as always in the podcast, the YouTube and the TikToks. Just remember, according to Jastin, Moon Knight is the best picture winner. Wrong one. It is so late.
Yeah, this was what? Was this 3 hours?
Roughly.
Yeah.
The cinefans out won't out there know we had some technical difficulties at some point, so we did have to stop recording and start again. Yeah, this will be around a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah.
When we combine them. With those episodes combined, it'll be 3 hours. On that note, I'm done. Are you guys done? Are we done?
I think so.
Yes.
All right, we're out.